We are live with another episode of the Keeg Talks. Today, the Keeg Talks Daredevil Born Again Season 2, which is kind of like Daredevil Season 5. We'll get into the intricacies of it all. I'm your host, Dimitri Pereira. If you're watching us live, you are watching us on youtube.com/The Keeg Show, or maybe you're watching us after the fact on youtube.com/The Keeg Show, or maybe you are listening to the podcast even more so after the fact at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc., wherever you get your podcasts from. No matter how you're digesting us, like, comment, subscribe, follow. Let us know you're out there. If you're here watching us live and you want to be in the chat, jump in the chat and let us know what you thought of Daredevil Born Again Season 2/Daredevil Season 5/MCU Chapter a Million. You know, it's not just me.
The prequel to Spider-Man Brand New Day.
It's prequel to Spider-Man Brand New Day. Maybe the prequel or the sequel to Punisher Last Kill.
If it's the final.
You know, is it the final, but it takes place before this? I'm not quite sure. So I think it comes out in a couple days. I could be wrong.
May 12th. May
12th. Okay, a couple days, yeah. Dang, now I have to do another episode on this. Anyway, if you're listening to the podcast, you can't tell who our guests are. If you're watching us live, you can see who our guests are. But for the podcast listeners out there, those were two different voices. First of all, we got Miss Marauder herself, Sarah Zitney. Sarah, what's up?
Hello. Not much. I'm tired. We had a busy week. We had lots of school events. It's the end of the year. Everything's going crazy, but I got my 17 pages of notes and I'm ready to rock. I'm excited.
We were talking about it before the show, but like, you are a teacher and you definitely bring those habits into every show that we do. So expect a lot of analysis from Sarah at the very least, you know. Sarah brings the notes. So, you know, thanks, Sarah.
You're welcome.
You were also co-host of the Daredevil Born Again Season 2 after show, which we did literally one episode per episode last season. And then this time, it was just going to be a lot of work. So we were like, let's do one episode at the end of the season and see what happens. So thanks, Sarah, for coming on. We also got, not first-timer, but first-timer in a long time on any of the Keeg podcasts. It's been...
May as well be the first time.
May as well be, because... You know, we're all different people. Ship of Theseus. We're all, you know, we've shed who we were 5 years ago. And now, are we? Am I actually Dimitri? I don't know. Are you actually J-Fridge at J-Phrygian? You know, the same one that was here,
me.
You know, here years ago?
You know, to be fair, probably not technically the same. I think the last time I was on here, I didn't have a child. So, like, I am pretty much a different person. It's very much not the same. We're not, you know, at home in the house bored, although maybe soon.
No, I can't. People, so like the tweet or whatever, the threads comment or whatever, that somebody was like, no hentai virus is going to be taking me out.
I just was like, hey,
if it was going to do that, it would have been a long time ago.
So speaking of English, because, you know, Sarah's here, she's an English teacher. How does it feel to watch people's lack of reading comprehension just as a whole, to the point that someone literally said that they read Hanta and was like, no hentai? Like, what?
I mean, it's simultaneously delightful and horrifying.
It could also be a joke. You never know. Like,
they could have said it on purpose.
The internet kind of kind of toes that line. It's like sometimes hard to tell, sometimes not. Like the people online that they only do satire content, but then people will repost it. Because there was a girl that was like, oh my God, did you know that Apple Pay is real money? Oh my God. And I paid, and like, I didn't know it was real money. I thought it was Apple money. And then like, because it was a girl doing the satire, a guy stitched it and was like, this is so dumb. People are stupid these days, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, she does satire content. It's fun. It's for fun, you know? So.
And that just takes like, you know, like looking at another video and being like, oh, she just does this as a thing. But
yeah,
we're very headline oriented people.
Yeah. And it's first like impression, right? It's like that 3 seconds of, oh, this dumb girl is crying over Apple Pay. I got thoughts. So, either way, literary analysis, reading comprehension, media comprehension, are things still the same as they were back then? Daredevil Born Again Season 2, which is the second season of Daredevil Born Again, which is a sequel series to Netflix's Daredevil, which had 3 seasons, which means Daredevil Born Again Season 2 is Daredevil Season 5, kind of. Is Fuller House...
So funny when you put it that way.
Yeah, Fuller House, the sequel to Full House, is that more seasons of Full House? I don't know.
And then was Defenders kind of a Daredevil show? So is it season 5.5?
You could make the argument because a lot of it rides on Daredevil, and a lot of Daredevil Season 3 rides on having watched the Defenders, right?
Quite literally. Right off the back of it, actually. I forgot, because Matt...
if you watch Season 3 without,
Yeah, Matt gets crushed by... If you haven't seen Defenders, it's been out forever. I just,
What are you going to do?
Whatever. What are you going to do? It got canceled, and now we're back. But... No, he literally got crushed by a building falling on him, but the hand got him out somehow and he survived, and that's where we kick off season 3.
Yeah. Jay, quick question for you, because correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah, I feel like you watch and rewatch old seasons of Daredevil, right?
Constantly.
Jay, when was the last time you went back and watched Netflix's Daredevil?
I don't think I ever went back to rewatch. I think
I'm with you.
When it got canceled, which funny enough, when you think about it, like that was pre-pandemic. I remember because I think I was in this house. I don't remember if it got canceled or if this was when the revivals came. I'm pretty sure it got canceled in 2020, technically. That was like, all of a sudden, it was like that. The season of that ended. Jessica Jones had one more season. Iron Fist finished, but
Punisher.
I haven't
Punisher
gone back
was the
and
last one. Punisher season 2.
Punisher did have one more season. Funny enough, I realized as Born Again has come out and more clips of all the old shows started coming out, I don't think I finished season 2 of Punisher. Beside the point, I don't think I ever went back to rewatch fully. I have revisited moments or episodes that I was like, man, what did Fisk do in this one?
Yeah.
What did this happen in that one? But I have revisited educating myself on it. And what a lot of people actually don't know, we give Netflix a lot of credit for that series, and Netflix was nothing but the licensure.
Yeah.
They just were the person who distributed the show. So that is a really funny conversation to have with people when you tell them, they're like, Disney ruined Daredevil with Born Again. And it's just like, well, Disney technically did the first one too.
I've never said Disney ruined Daredevil, but I do think it's nicer to say Disney ruined Daredevil than to be like, this creative team really dropped the ball. Because I'm like, I don't want to get mad at you. I'd rather get mad at Disney.
Well, real quick, before we get talking into this, actually, because I think we should preface this at the top of the show. First thing, there will be spoilers in this whole thing, and I do, recommend watch this season and then come back to listen or watch this podcast. Hopefully you're not tuned into the podcast for some reason before watching the show. It wouldn't make any sense, but...
Surprise.
So there are spoilers. Second thing is, really quick... let's just go through between 1 and 10. How would we rate this season for ourselves? And, if you have a quick thought on why, and then over the course of the episode, we'll be able to get into the nitty gritty of what did that mean? what? So, I don't know if anyone knows how they would rate this season, but between 1 and 10, 10 being the absolute best, 1 being the absolute worst.
Feel like with pages of notes, Sarah, you gotta have a score in mind right now.
I do have a score. Sure. I do have a score.
She just doesn't want to go first on it, and I
want
get
to go
it.
first.
If you don't want to go first, I can go first. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
I did give this a little bit of thought because I don't typically score a lot of things. I do mean to. I mean to do written reviews. It never happens. But this season, when I really sat with it, the season as a whole, I'm sitting at a 7.3.
Okay.
I don't know if y'all care about point. But
no,
yeah, if I had
point.
to give exact score, 7.3. That's where I'm at right now.
Normally we do, we can do points. That's cool.
Oh, you do stars? Do you do
No,
Keegs?
like we've done that. It's like IGN or whatever. It's 7.3 review. Yeah, that's cool. When you get into like one more digit, then I might start cutting you off.
7.398.
Yeah.
Specifically.
On the last episode of Comic Talk, Drew rated that week in comics a 7.35, and I was like, oh, we're getting into 3 significant digits. Great. Getting very, very,
Granular.
granular. So, okay, fine. So you're 7.3. That's cool. I'm cool with it. I would say, just for my own brain, I think like a 7 is a comfortable spot for me. 7 out of 10 on this series, and mostly because, quick blurb is that I thought it was better than season 1 of Daredevil Born Again, but it has yet to live up to Daredevil Netflix's seasons 1, 2, and 3. Even though people hate on 2, I like 2, and I still think that 2 is better than this 2. But that's me.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
I'm gonna say 4. It was not.
I feel you on it though. I'm definitely excited to hear.
I did not like season 1, but I was giving it some time because I was like, I know you stitched together old creative teams, but I also know that I liked the episodes in season 1 from the original creative team better than the new creative team that took over for season 2. So I didn't go in it like I tried to set the bar low of like, I'm just gonna, I'm not gonna hype it up. I'm gonna just go in and see what happens. And then I didn't like almost anything that happened.
Yeah.
So yeah. I feel like a 4 is like, that's my like politically correct answer is a 4. Like my real answer is like, I'll never rewatch any of these episodes ever again. Maybe episode 4. Episode 4 was like decent.
Of this season?
Yeah.
What happens in it? That is after.
That's the Dex episode. Honestly, Wilson Bethel carried almost everything that I enjoyed in this season of TV was done by Wilson Bethel.
I would honestly argue to your point, a lot of people, in my opinion, started talking about the show way more after that episode. It's like the timeline did get kickstarted by the Bullseye episode. I would honestly kindly agree.
Yeah.
And I rewatched. So the Netflix Daredevil show is very precious and important to me. It's my baby. I rewatch it like I would say once a year. I at least rewatch the first half of season 2 at least once a year. That's my favorite little moment of television. One of my favorite moments of television. But I'm also a rewatch I rewatch a lot of shows. So for me, I would have rather they're like, Netflix's Daredevil was lightning in a bottle, right? We cannot replicate that. Let's zag, right? Let's do the She-Hulk thing where he's like a little bit more lighthearted. He's kind of, having a good time with it. I would have been a little bit salty about killing Foggy off screen, but I would have gotten used to it. Do something different instead of what this season was, which feels like they were trying to do an impression of the Netflix show, but they did a bad job.
Yeah.
And I have many, many, many 17 pages worth of thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely gearing up for all that nitty gritty. Quick question though, Sarah. One is, two questions. One is, do any of the Netflix seasons take place during a specific season, like of like spring, summer, fall, winter? Just wondering.
I don't think so.
Okay, because like Hawkeye takes place during.
Yeah,
winter, right?
Yeah, not in the way Hawkeye's a Christmas show.
And then second question is, you rated this season a 4. What was your rating of last season?
Probably like a 3.5.
So you only thought it was slightly better.
Yeah, I only thought it was slightly better because the episodes that I liked from season 1, like I think the bank episode in season 1 is better than any episode in season 2.
So you and I need to be friends because I had in my back pocket of if we talked about season 1, the bank episode was my favorite episode. It is how, to me, you write Matt Murdock, because the way that I've always seen Matt Murdock is throughout the day, he finds that way to play the blind man, play the I'm helpless, but using his powers in secret. The moment where he got the guy in the staircase and he like catches the gun at I'm like, that's how Daredevil is like sleuth and sly, uses charisma, might get beat up a little bit as the helpless lawyer on purpose, all to keep everybody like safe and managing everything he's hearing. It was probably the best episode I think written for Born Again. Some people felt like they didn't like it because they said it was a filler. I would argue it was the best characterization of the character in Born Again.
Yeah.
I think that the term filler episode is one of the worst things that's happened to the media analysis landscape, because oftentimes an episode that you say is a filler episode is where you get a lot of character development, which is the meat and potatoes of your show, that was a big thing when I was putting together my big picture thoughts. I was like, what arcs were these characters on? What fundamental changes did they go through in this season? Karen is literally no different in the finale than she was in the first episode. Like, Matt, people know who Matt is now, but that's all that's changed about Matt. He hasn't changed anything about his outlook. Like, nobody went on any kind of journey. There was no character development, which is wild to say about Daredevil.
Yeah, I mean, and there's also character development for like almost development's sake, where it's driven by the plot because we need this to happen, versus like something that makes sense. So like a confusing thing is the psychologist this season, and I even forget her name.
Heather
Glenn.
Suddenly,
that's one of my knockdown points as well.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't sure where you're going with that. I thought you're like, that's one of my crushes. And it's like, yeah, sure.
No.
But like,
no, quite literally all I could think of, spoiler alert, obviously, but I need Karen to get back on her. I need a fair fight. I want you to throw some hands at somebody when someone's not handcuffed to a table. How about that?
Well,
I was so sick of her the whole season.
Well, it kicks off with like her messing with the psychology reports, right? And I'm like, oh, so right off the bat, that is just evil. It's not misguided. It's just evil, right? Like her when she's interviewing swordsman,
yeah. But she doesn't falsify it at first. Hochberg talks to her and is like, hey, good stuff. Can you make him seem like he's more guilty? And then she almost immediately is like, okay.
Yeah. So
yikes.
Yeah.
I mean, a vigilante did try to kill her, but at the same time,
it was just such a weird twist that I was like, okay, so just because the plot needs you to turn into Muse at the end of season 2, it's only because of that. Like the character from season 1 of Born Again, not great, but also not that person. So it's just weird to me.
Also, like legally, why does she have that mask? That should have immediately been taken into evidence. Why does she have a crime scene? There's a lot of little things like that where I was like,
did Buck give it to her? Because how did she get
she had it from the beginning. I don't know. I don't
remember her getting her hands on it.
Fisk like holds it up as like, we caught him. So I don't know if he's like tossed it behind him afterwards like a bouquet at a wedding.
She said, I'll take that. Put that in my pocket.
So where do we start off this season with what? An attack on the ship? It's like
Northern Star
incident. The Northern Star. Jay brought up a good point of like Daredevil sneaking around and sleuthing, whatever. Maybe that's the only time we get this in this season. I don't feel like Daredevil sleuths at all this season. He just busts in and fights people.
Do you know, he doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
They have multiple conversations where they're like, let's make sure we have a plan first. And then he goes in. But when I saw this, I was like, this to me is a clear parallel to like one of the very first fights in season 1 of Netflix Daredevil is the shipping crate. It's like these girls that are being trafficked in a shipping container. But I went back and watched that fight and I was like, that fight's so much better because we know the stakes. We see what's happening is that the girls are getting trafficked. So we know what he's there to break up. right? The fight is like the fights are very like smooth in this, which I don't love. You also the black suit, it's one of those things where it's like, ah, his suit's black. Cool. And then it starts to fade later. It's like patchy. And I saw someone say it's because
black and red.
He painted it black and then it's like chipping off through the season. And I'm like, are we just did they say that in the podcast episode after? Like, if I would have seen him spray painting his suit, then when it starts to crack off, I would be like, oh, it's, but I didn't see that.
Every show having a companion podcast is also a choice too. I was like, I don't feel like tuning into this. I just watched the hour episode. But to your point, they do be sometimes clarifying, hey, by the way, what you saw this, and it's like, do I really need you to have a deliberation for me to make sense of what I just watched?
Yeah. Like,
because I didn't know that. I was curious.
Right?
I was curious about the red because I was like, I thought he was supposed to have black suit. And then I remember my wife walked by and she was like, what's going on with his suit? And she was like, he's got these red patches. And I was like, I think it's because the red was wearing off. I actually forgot that he spray painted it black.
He didn't. We didn't see him do that.
It's just black.
Someone said he spray painted it black, like someone on the internet. And I was like, I guess.
But also he has a red D, like the double D on his chest, where that's the same color as what was underneath. So when he spray painted, did he put like a stencil? It was like a stencil kind of thing.
He's essentially me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That is hilarious.
Painting my Mandalorian armor and just taping it off with masking tape.
And that hasn't rubbed off, but okay. I don't know. That's weird to me, but okay.
The thing that I would say, like this season, as we like progress through this, I know you started us from the beginning, and she brings up the Northern Star. It started off so good to me, but even down to where he hid the watch, and then we don't get back to that forever. They did a lot of fragmenting of storyline that was very. It's like, wow, we finally realized this little detail that I thought was really cool in episode 1, but now we're in episode 5 and we're finally getting back to that.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot about it. 1,000 other things happen.
And then they bring up the watch thing. He does the thing with the watch like 8 different times. And for me, no, it's probably not, I'm over exaggerating, but they keep coming back to he hears the watch so he knows where the guns are. But for me, my whole thing was like, if you are Daredevil, like, does he steal that watch from someone and then it's like, let me put it here?
Yeah,
he took it off one of the guards.
So if you're Daredevil and you're smart, maybe you have a collection of little things that make an incredibly unique noise so that you can put it in things to track it, not just bank on the fact that one of the security guards has a watch that ticks loud.
Like a hyper frequency thing too.
Yeah,
because like people won't catch on.
And then you have, not to show my Batman fan side, but then we open a whole thing of gadgets. What gadgets? Maybe he has some gadgets.
And also those would be really cheap gadgets, right? Like you get like a dog whistle type situation, right? Like Daredevil can hear it. And like actually that could have been funny. You put like, and not funny, but like in the context of the show funny, that he can activate the dog sound, like the dog whistle, let's just say the dog frequency, and then dogs start barking and the guards are like, why would that,
That would be funny, haha.
Yeah, but it's not absurd funny, right? It's just like...
No, it would be hilarious. You'd be like, man, what's that? Why are these dogs barking? I don't hear anything.
Yeah.
I will say the watch thing, to be fair, it contextually made sense to me. They started sinking the ship, and he's like, I got to get out of here. Grabs watch, puts it in the thing. Tick, tick, tick. I'm like, oh, that's such a sweet detail because, he's going to be able to find the weapons because he knows Fisk isn't going to just let these weapons be sunk. But like you said, they kind of like came back to it in episode 3. We're back on it in episode 4. Yeah. He finds the weapon where he left the watch in episode 6, and it's just like, all right, man. Like,
and it's like nobody's opened this and seen the watch.
Nobody's opened it and seen the watch. Also, it's just a watch. So I get like him throwing it in there to like find it on the ship. But once the box is moved off the ship, everybody has watches. Like, you're telling me none of the guards had watches?
So I know we're only like 2 minutes into the first episode.
Yeah.
But I feel like this scene highlights a couple of the big issues I have, which I have some sophisticated issues, that I can say smartly. But like, I think it's dumb. Like that, like it's like fake smart dumb.
Yeah.
Like, because on the surface, that is a good idea. Put something in it so that you can hear it. However, once it's gone, how do you know that watch tick that you're hearing is the watch that you let, like, certainly people have the same brand of watch. Certainly there's watches around. And then after it happens, we go right back to Matt and Karen. And the first thing they do is debrief the thing that just happened. They constantly do this. They have a scene, something happens, and the next scene is someone telling someone what just happened.
You know why I think that is? But continue, sorry.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's no suspense, right? There's no, when are they going to figure it out? And they are obsessed with spelling out every single thing that happens. Like, there's like not a whiff of show don't tell in this, like, at all. There's a moment like
Ben Affleck just talked about this.
There's a crack in Fisk's armor. Who's all that firepower for? And then they might as well have just like looked into the camera like The Office and been like, who's all that firepower for? Oh, here's a new character. And it's like, oh my God. And the other thing is, they don't stay on anything for longer than like 2 minutes. There is not a scene. There's barely a scene. That's why when we get to episode 4 and we get the montage of Dex getting his breakfast ready, I loved that montage and then into the diner scene so well, because that's like the first time in the whole damn season that we spend more than 5 minutes on one scene. And at first I was like, maybe this is just a personal beef that I have where I like them to take their time and marinate, and they're not doing that. And maybe they didn't do this in the original show. And then I was rewatching last night some of Netflix's Daredevil, and I was like, oh no, the scene with Matt with the Punisher on the rooftop, that scene goes on for like a long time. They're on the roof uninterrupted for like it's like 12 minutes.
That is sort of a problem I have with Netflix Daredevil, and I love Netflix Daredevil, but it is decompressed in a way. Like, I think you would have your cake and eat it too, right? Like, but the Disney Plus Daredevil Born Again stuff doesn't breathe ever. And but you can't take too many breaths because like things just get really long, right? So
yeah, but there's too many characters and too many plot lines. So we go from the Northern Star to Matt and Karen debriefing it to Fisk and his office, and then we get Karen in disguise, then Heather's talking to Swordsman, then Cherry's talking to Kirsten, then Kirsten's talking to Hochberg, then we get the task force, then we get the Fisk mask video, then we get Matt showing his face to a random woman, then we get Buck and the task force, then Charles, Vanessa, and Fisk, then BB and Karen, then Heather and Hawk. It's like, this is one episode. Then Matt and Karen, and it's like,
this is why English teachers made a great impression on people, because like I remember a lot of my English teachers, and this is why, because you are pointing out very good points that I'm sitting here like, TikTok brain really has us messed up, because like that's really not cool that like right after we just watched the Northern Star thing, the next scene is, so Karen, I went to the Northern Star, guns, weapons, put a watch in a box, and we got to find the weapons. He blew up the ship.
Yeah. Well, so Jay, you mentioned Ben Affleck said something, which I also think is funny because Ben Affleck was Daredevil in the movie, but still, what did he say?
Yeah, so Ben Affleck was just recently talking about this, because a lot of what Sarah is talking about, people attribute a lot to Netflix shows.
Yeah.
The idea that like no one talks like this, like, but Netflix, he was talking in an interview with Matt Damon. I don't remember if they have a movie that came out on Netflix recently.
Yeah, it was the cartel one. I forget what it was called.
Correct. Yeah. So he was talking about how like, no, the way that they do it is literally, they want the writing and the scenery like based off of like attention.
Yeah.
He's like, before you would normally have an action movie, kind of introduce your characters, you're kind of learning a couple stuff. It builds up to the first action set piece, intro card, and now we're into the movie. He's like, now they're like 30 seconds in, explosions. You're right in the middle of the conflict. Everything's going on. What's happening? And then we go back. And he was talking about how, again, reiterating and confirming what people have said, they write and design for people who are watching and also on their phones.
Yeah. Well,
The
watching
reason that
on
they
their
do
phones
that,
or being on their phones while they're
no, watching distracted.
Yeah.
Watching, having it on while you're cooking, having it on while scrolling through TikTok, having it on while watching a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm also guilty of it. I'm not gonna lie. The Subway Surfer Reddit story trend that we all did, where people were doing that, it's messed us up. And so in media now, and I didn't even realize until Sarah pointed out that even other streaming services are now getting to that point of, it's very much every 2 to 3 minutes we need to rehook you. Every 2 to 3 minutes we need to rehook you. The thing that everyone hated about Madam Web, I never saw it, but everybody said the editing was like every 2 minutes it was like these two people talking, cut to here, action, cut to here. Now all of a sudden people talking in a car, they're outside, oh, they're on a bridge, now someone fell off a roof, and then we're back.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's either you have your action scene and then have another scene afterwards that talks about what happened in that action scene, or you have an action scene that has talking while you're doing the action scene. So, you know, whatever. I mean, I definitely think that is also a problem because people aren't going to be able to comprehend and listen and watch and cook their dinner and whatever. Like you're losing a lot of stuff. But I also think that like maybe in an age of streaming, people can just as easily switch to another thing to watch. Sure, back in the day you could switch to another channel, but it's a little bit different. And when you're in a movie theater, you can't switch to another movie. You either choose to walk out or not, right? So you kind of have like a semi-captive audience there. So we're redoing the hooks, we're doing that stuff. But also, I think Daredevil Born Again Season 1 had a whole thing shot, then they redid it and reshot everything and like re-edited and scrambled things up and whatever. And it's very disjointed. And I wonder if the writing team, the production team takes that as a given that Marvel will always scramble and re-scramble and reshoot, that you essentially write double or write more fragmented stuff so that no matter what gets taken out, you can re-put it together so you can't see the seams as much. So
That's a good point.
We have 10 different characters in season 2 that what if Marvel was like, well, nah, we're going to kill this character. We're going to do a reshoot. And in the first episode, this character dies. And they're like, well, how do we get rid of that plot line if it's plugged into everybody? No, BB and what's his name have their own plot line.
Yeah.
And you could cut that. And it technically doesn't affect much. Like, we could work around that, right? Maybe
That
now
could
they're
be
writing
it.
in advance, thinking that there will be edits and reshoots and restructuring and scrambling later. And it changes the way you literally from the start write the show.
I think this is like a very big picture gripe I have, but like for me, I wish that instead of being like, people have short attention spans, they're watching while they're multitasking, they're doing their phones. You know, I'm always watching, I have the Good Place on at all times, every time I'm making a cosplay, right? This concept of like, so we have to cater to short attention spans instead of being like, you know what, I'm gonna make a show so goddamn good you're gonna put your phone down, because that's how it is with movie theaters right now. Is like I spent $85 taking my mom and my daughter to see Project Hail Mary in 35 millimeter and 30 millimeter IMAX, 70 millimeter IMAX, but I was like, you made a movie so good, I shelled out 80 of my dollars that I would be spending on anime figurines to spend seeing this movie, right? Like, taking it as a challenge instead of like being defeated, like, well, we got to make it dumb so that they can still get it if they're also on TikTok, instead of being like, you are going to tune into this episode of Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and not only are you not going to be on TikTok while you're watching it, but you're not going to be able to look at anything but the screen 5 minutes after the episode's over. Right? So I feel like I get extra impressed when a show seems to have done that, of like, you're not going to be on your phone during this.
You can only do that though if you don't foresee any curveballs coming your way. Like you can plan a cool party, right? Like, and invite your like perfect friend list and do things very specifically, but like when one thing falls apart, another thing falls apart, and like you gotta like figure out stuff, right?
If
like,
they're doing it strategically to be able to cut stuff out, there's no reason why Heather Glenn is still in this series. Like, she played so badly in the first season. Nobody liked her in the first season, and then everything in this season was also bad. Like, if we're strategically doing it so we can cut characters out, why is Heather still here? I mean, she doesn't add to the show not passing the Bechdel test. Every time two women are talking, they're talking about one of the men. So it's not like we're being added. No, there's no feminist thing being added.
Yeah.
Except for when she slapped, Karen across the face, and I was like, "Now kiss." I mean, I was like, "Open up."
We can dream.
I'm not gonna lie. Karen was laughing and shit too. I was like, y'all are like, she's crazier than you. I promise you.
I will find myself right now in the same thing in my notes, and definitely I wrote in the notes a couple times like, we are freaked out in the wrong places. Like,
because did you also feel that with Daredevil and Bullseye too?
Daredevil and Bullseye,
that whole episode.
Karen and Bullseye, she's got his shirt's inexplicably off. She's got a gun to his head. She's in his lap, or looks like she's in his lap. Why is she in his lap? I don't know.
Wait, why is she in her? When was that? I don't remember
there's
that.
Just like, there's a lot of choking in this show. Like, there's a lot of choking.
Freaked out in the worst ways possible. It's hilarious because you're right.
But I have, here's my theory. Okay, here's my big brain theory. I don't know, and I am not making a judgment call on any of the creatives about this show. But it seems that the only way that they know how to convey anything is violence. So there is no physical intimacy between any of the romantic pairings in this show. Like, there's a little bit of kissing, but like none of it feels intimate at all. But instead we have this incredibly sexually charged moment with Heather choking Buck. He's like, "Show me how he choked you." I was like, if they don't get to it on Fisk's bed right now, like, we have that choking scene. We have Matt choking Dex. We have her, Karen, kind of straddling, she's not straddling him, but they're cut off.
He was in his face, like talking all breathy. She's like,
"We have
to do this right now."
Fisk chokes Karen, and then we have there's one, and then Heather chokes her, and it's like there's all these like physically intimate scenes of something that's like just on the line of being sexual, because there's no romantic intimacy in this, so like the intimacy that's between these characters has to be coded in violence.
They do violence really weird in last season, but then more so in this season. I don't get, like, they're CGIing blood splatter, which is funny to me. It's like the blood splatter makes no sense. I don't get what's that? Anytime Daredevil's punching people, blood splatter.
Oh, you're right. It was like
time.
digital looking.
All the time,
for no
like
reason.
North Star stuff in the not the courtroom, maybe in the courtroom. Like, I don't know. He's just always like, and then it's like the people are getting landed on their necks, but I'm assuming Daredevil still has a no kill code. So it doesn't, none of that makes sense.
Because he mentions it 800 times.
And it doesn't, like, I'm so upset at the no kill code. I'm so upset by it. And maybe right now is not the greatest time. We'll maybe save that for later, because we talk about plot points. But
the blood and the over the top nature of the violence, and like, I'm not a prude, right? I love a super violent thing, but this concept of like, I think that it's like, people liked Netflix's Daredevil because it was gritty and mature. We're going to be gritty and mature. Okay, blood spatter and make everyone say fuck all the time. Yeah. They are not swearing they are not saying fuck in Netflix's Daredevil. They are saying it at least 10 times every episode. You know how I know?
You tell.
I got a fuck count. Episode 6, fuck is said 18 times. Because they're like, how do we and then like,
how do we let them know we're mature?
How do we let them know without having depth of thought in our show? Let's say fuck a lot.
Is this sort of a, and it's not a meta commentary because I don't think they're doing it on purpose. I think it's more of a kind of like, it's part of the time. Essentially, like, the idea that like maturity is meant to, it's not about like intellectual like stuff. It's not about being smart or wise. or having like this artistic thing. It's about violence and language, and that is maturity and age. Like as you get older, that's what happens, as opposed to like you just have smarter material to work with. I don't know.
I think it's not a meta commentary, it's like an example.
No,
right?
it's an example.
Yeah. It's like a perfect example of the way that they add this stuff to make it mature, right? To signal that it's mature. But the Netflix show was mature because we had a 14-minute scene debating if people deserve second chances or not, while Matt is chained to a rooftop, right, with a gun duct taped to his hand, right?
Yeah.
Those are the moments that are like impactful versus like that fight. And like the hallway fight is so cool, the oneers are so cool because you can like see how tired Daredevil is, and it's like scrappy and it's like dirty, and these are like so polished that it's like he's essentially whipping around like Spider-Man. And for me it was so interesting because the swearing and the violence is so dialed up to 11 and the sex is dialed back to 0.
Yeah.
Like Matt Murdock, I was gonna say can I swear, but I've already sworn so much.
Yeah.
Like Matt Murdock fucks, like that's his thing.
Yeah.
He doesn't
It was all up in She-Hulk. But
He's
you know what?
That's
because people decided to be prudish about She-Hulk. Oh my God, my goat having a walk of shame. And it's like, have you I haven't read a ton of Daredevil comics. However, though, Daredevil is known to be getting around. He was getting around in the Netflix show.
Yeah.
Every season he was with multiple people. Like, what are we talking about?
Like, have people not had walks of shame? Shame in quotes, because it doesn't have to be shameful, but the idea
He was
of like
he was walking.
It was a walk of victory. Yeah.
He was like
walking
man,
home after a great night. Walking home, that is not a bad thing. Why would that be a bad thing?
Yeah. And that's the whole thing is like, yeah, if you're in full costume, hey, I've been there. The concept of like none of the characters, and I'm like, you don't have to put sex in your show. Like, I don't need,
Yeah.
Although I do. The Elektra Matt scene in the boxing ring has a very special place in my heart. But so it's like you don't have to show anything explicitly, but like I don't believe that Matt and Karen are actively a couple that's having sex regularly. I also don't believe that Fisk and Vanessa are doing that either. I didn't like that relationship had no like spark to me. Like neither of the relationships had any spark to me, which is like this is not believable. And then looking at I always bring up Superman. Like Superman, like those like they're about to do it in the kitchen right there. Like the dynamic between those two characters is like, I believe that you are a couple that enjoys each other's company. I do not believe that about Fisk and Vanessa or Matt and Karen.
Not the way
this
is.
Yeah. Oh, I was just gonna say, because with Fisk and Vanessa, even thinking back to season 1, how they brought that back together again was very weird. They just again kind of what you said earlier, Dimitri, of like it was necessary for the plot, but not in a way that made sense. It was just like we don't explore like how I don't even remember the dude's name. We don't explore like how she got in with the dude who Fisk has trapped now, where their relationship kind of started, what's the depth of feeling. She's just like, my proof of love to you, pow, and shoots. I think she shot him. I can't remember.
Yeah, but also, that whole thing was really confusing. That Wilson Fisk had a prisoner the whole time, and
yeah, I mean, but it's just to her point is like they don't really their chemistry in the Netflix show 2 Degrees made somewhat of sense. It kind of just in this season, it felt very separate. Like he's very much, I'm focused on the city. Like I love you, girl, but I'm focused on the city. And of course, we then get the vehicle of like the episode where he starts talking with her about like, oh, like, an air or this, that, or third. She's like, but what if we get away from the city? Then that's the episode where then she gets got. And for us as the viewer, I definitely felt the semblance of, well, that's coming on full circle of like, she was telling you y'all needed to just like quit while you're ahead, all this stuff. And like, now you lost her. But like, we don't even really see that type of regret or development within Fisk either. It's just like Vanessa gone now. Blind rage. I am Hulk smash.
But then he didn't even do that. For me, I was like, I just remember very vividly the scene in Netflix Daredevil where like he smashes a guy's head in with a car door because he
That's my
embarrassed
favorite
him.
scene.
He interrupted her during dinner. But you're gonna tell me Bullseye murdered her, and you like burn New York City to the ground, right? Like even in I know this isn't like canon, right? Like, but in Spider-Verse, he's willing to open a black hole that swallows Manhattan, like Brooklyn, right? Sorry, I'm from the West Coast. To swallow the city, just to get a parallel universe version of Vanessa back. But you're telling me he murdered? She's been murdered. You killed one doctor, which I did write in my notes. God, I hope he kills this guy because like that's the worst bedside manner I've ever seen.
Wait, what was the problem with the doctor? Because I didn't like the fact that he killed the doctor.
The doctor was like, death cannot, take away feelings. That he like kept talking. And it was like, that is not what he needs right now.
They planted the seed that the doctor was just kind of gonna talk too much for him. He came in the first time, and I was like, you're getting on his nerves. Like, I know you're getting on his nerves. So when she died, I was taking it when she was gonna die as he was just gonna blame. He's like, it's your fault. I'm killing you. Which like that even maybe would have made more sense than just like, give me a hug. For what you're talking about with the Netflix thing, I go back. The scene that made me realize the Netflix show was different was that scene with the car door. For one, I watched a lot of Teen Wolf, so Deucalion being in the show, I was like, that's so cool. Then when he got killed, I said, well, he didn't last very long. But that through line of seeing Fisk do that, it leaves you on your edge because you're like, when is he gonna stop? And it almost goes to that line of uncomfortability of like, how long are we gonna really sit in this? Again, a very mature and artistic choice. And then they through line it to the mindset that is Fisk when you go back to his childhood and the thing of keep kicking him. That's what his dad told him to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's that trauma that he still does. And that was the car door. And I definitely thought when Vanessa died, the whole thing that people said too, Karen even herself said it. She was like, that's kind of, or the governor, she was like, that was kind of the only thing that like held him at bay. His wife's the only thing that kind of kept him in check.
Yeah.
I really did expect him to kind of go into a more openness and out of control than he really did. And everybody kind of foreboded too. Everybody was like, he's going to be on edge now, and he never really was.
And it was very, I think my big complaint is like we have to do a big fight in the last episode because like that's a Marvel TV show. It was almost like logically he should go into a berserker rage the minute she dies, but we have to save it for the finale because there has to be a big fight in the finale. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense with the character or the show, but we just have to save it for the finale. The other thing is maybe it's because I recently watched The Pit, but like none of this hospital is how a hospital works. She's like coding, she's actively dying, and there's a woman with a stethoscope there. Bitch, she's on a heart monitor. What are you doing? Like
they didn't do their research.
There's one nurse in there. And it's like for me, and again, I don't want to personally insult the creative team on this show, but how do you care so little about your show that all of the scenes happening in a hospital seem to be happening by someone that's never seen like the set dressing, zero effort. The extras playing the doctors and nurses, zero effort. Like for such a monumental thing like Vanessa dying, to put so little care into the way that you set those things up was like genuinely mind-boggling to me. Like,
this is also a thing about Marvel, the MCU and stuff. And I don't overhate on the MCU. I don't think that like the MCU is all crap right now. That's not my thing. But I do think it does bring me back to, you guys know about the triangle between quality, time, and money? Do you guys know what the triangle is? So it's like you can have, if you don't have one, you have to have the other two to get something done, right? Like if you don't have time, you better have quality and money. And if you don't have quality also comes with like prep. But anyway, like if you don't have money, then you have to have time and like whatever. Maybe I'm saying it wrong, but the point being is that like if you are saying that like okay, we don't have time or money, it's gonna not be quality, right? So if we're trying to make things for cheap and trying to make it fast, you miss a lot of this like idea of could they have gotten like anyone like any production team that has done a hospital before should be able to take that knowledge to the next movie or TV show that they do a hospital in and whatever. And like whatever. So maybe they had those people, but they didn't have money. But then they give it. I don't know. Some of that doesn't make
like
any
this is
sense
this.
to me.
You guys have them, like they got the money. Yeah, it's like it's fast, good, or cheap, and you can only pick two, right? But it seemed like they didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and then at the scene where Vanessa dies and the sound cuts out almost, and you see him screaming. I wrote in like giant letters. I was like, we needed to hear him scream. Right? That is a moment. If this was 2015, right? We would like the concept of like the primal scream, the way it's put forward in like season 3 of Daredevil, is like so integral. And instead we have Matt Murdock yelling all the time. Every fight, he's like 3 punches in, he's like, ah, right? Instead of like you've built up to it, you're at the point that you can't contain it, and then you like scream, right? So the fact that he is obviously like wailing in pain and we did not get to hear that from him, I thought was like a huge missed opportunity.
I think at the very basic level, I think Kingpin and some other characters too is a caricature of himself. I don't feel I get the pathos of Kingpin anymore in any of these 2 seasons. Like his motivation, his pathos, even the way he was dealing with the prisoner guy in season 1, and just the idea that like, okay, we want him to become mayor, but why? And it's just, there needs to be more. And so like this like emotional, intellectual like reasoning, because he's both supposed to be emotional and intellectual. And like, I'm not getting either one. I'm getting it as he's just a puppet to the writers essentially. And good writing, the strings are invisible, right? But bad writing is, oh no, Wilson Fisk chokes the doctor because he chokes the doctor. We need another kill. We need that. Also in that episode where Vanessa dies, I don't get it. She got stabbed. She was gonna die, got brought back to life, then died again, and
had a successful surgery, had like a single piece of gauze on her head from this giant head wound. Yeah, like medically it didn't make sense. But that brings the whole thing about him killing the doctor, although I was delighted just because the doctor character was very annoying to me. But it's like we didn't hear the emotional scream, but we did see him break the doctor's neck and saw blood coming out, right? Because like that's what we want to see.
It wasn't his neck, it was his back.
It goes back to what she's saying about like the lack of intimacy, like the primal scream at his loss is that emotional intimacy for the audience that we don't get, but they're like, but violence though.
That's what we got. Yeah.
Back crack. Yeah, like I made this point. As much as I enjoy Daredevil, I enjoy the character, I actually didn't dislike season 1 as much as a lot of people. I did think it was just kind of like okay, because I also, again, this goes back to I hate episode formatting right now. Why did last season have 9 episodes and then this season has 8? I guess it goes back to like at the very least give me 10. I don't know, but for this season, like as we're kind of talking about it, and it's just one of those things that with these characters, in incorporating them into the MCU, they almost dialed some things to 11 in a way that it takes me out of it personally. People were like, you want grounded, or you want realistic for a comic book thing. That's not what I'm saying. I made a joke that Bullseye's kills are absolutely ridiculous, which, to be fair, when I did go back and look at was it season 2 he was in, or season 3? Season 3, they were actually ridiculous. Then he was throwing pencils through the bottom of a metal desk. Like, what are we talking about? But
that's what we buy into. That is kind of just Bullseye. Like,
right.
You know?
But in this show, he threw a lobster claw through someone's eye, and I was just like, "That's hilarious." Okay, but where I start drawing the line is, why is Wilson Fisk? I don't care if he's supposed to be 450 pounds, 99% muscle. Why is he doing Captain America level feats? Like when he first got reintroduced in Hawkeye, how we come back to him is he rips a full car door off. No holds bar. It's like obviously he's apparently stronger than he ever was. Where they lost me, and it goes back to violence for some reason. The end of season 1, I don't mind him squeezing man's head till man's head smush. What do you mean he tore his jaw off and like ripped scalp from skull? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so I hear what you kind of mean, where it's like Wilson Fisk almost feels like a caricature of the character. It feels like you put it the best way of, it feels like I see the strings of the writers,
Yeah.
as opposed to seeing the character Wilson Fisk in Daredevil Born Again.
And I feel like Matt, though, is a character, like the not being able to write the nuances of the characters and instead boiling them down to their most basic element and then dialing that up to 11. So like Fisk, it's the berserker strength, right? That's all we understand about him, so that's what we're going to do all the time. Matt doesn't kill people. That's all we seemingly know about him. So all he's going to do is lecture Karen about how we can't kill people. He's so boring in this season of TV. And for me, I'm one of those people that's like, I sound like a hater, and I'm not a hater. Genuinely, I'm like, I love Daredevil as a character. So I'm like, even the worst, like I still get to see Charlie Cox portraying Daredevil on my screen, which is a delight, usually, which is why it broke my heart so much that I was like, he is so boring.
Yeah.
Just deeply a boring character. He's like, this isn't you, Karen. But vengeance isn't justice, Karen. We can't do that. You can't just shoot him. And I'm like, and the part of what bugged me is he's always been like that. So to have the flashbacks with Foggy to be like, Foggy taught him that people get second chances and you have to give people grace. And it's like Elektra had the man who murdered his father tied up and served him on a silver platter, and he did not kill him. Matt Murdock is never going to be a man that kills Dex. He's never going to, right? He is so eaten alive by the fact that he threw him off that building with the intent to kill him. That like shook his entire foundation. Why are we going back and rehashing the fact that he doesn't want to kill people? Why are we flashing back to Foggy to tell us he doesn't want to kill people and reminding us about the best things about the Netflix show, which is that there was a character named Matt Murdock who we liked. There is not a character named Matt Murdock that I like in Daredevil Born Again season 2.
Because they took away a lot of aspects of his character. And I'm trying to think of, if this wasn't Daredevil, essentially this show is just corrupt mayor, alleyway vigilante on the run by cops. That's it.
Can you tell the cops are bad?
Right. He's on the run from cops. Okay. And then, but that's it, because we don't get the lawyer stuff until right at the end. We need that. We don't get any law stuff. Foggy's not there anymore, right?
He was kind of a heart of the show, in my opinion. I think if you were gonna do the Foggy gets killed, there was a way to do that. It being that thing of why he pushed Bullseye off the roof and then taking him on the arc that we see him go on. That makes sense, but kind of to Sarah's point, like, it's okay to move on now. Like, he has dealt with that. That was the thing in season 1. He's decided back to the no-kill rule that he already had. Like you said, he already had the no-kill rule before. And the reason that he put up the mask was that he crossed that line and pushed Dex off the roof. He overcomes that in season 1. So, like, yeah, you don't have to every episode tell us, by the way, I don't kill. By the way, I don't kill. Jessica Jones, what if he needs to be dealt with? I don't kill. We're not going to do that. You could just get us to where we get to with the courtroom scene of him deciding to do it as Matt Murdock, which was one of my favorite episodes. And, well, the finale was one of my favorite episodes mainly because of the courtroom scene, because it gave the perfect characterization that I like to see of him using his powers to listen to the room, knowing when to push and pull, using his charisma to push the judge's buttons, but still get his point across and win the audience buy-in as the whole and like change the wave of energy in the room. And it's just one of those things of like, I do wish that they leaned more into that, because that was the first time I felt like we saw Matt Murdock in this show, was in that courtroom scene.
And even if you want to be like, okay, the only time we get to see Matt is when he does court stuff. I feel bad because I'm like, part of it is like I want to judge it on its own, but part of it is like you did make it a direct continuation of the Netflix show, so
they flash back directly to
you're
it.
making me do this, right? Even in the flashback, they're doing all of the prep work, right, for these cases, and then part of it, similar to the doctor stuff, where I'm like, this isn't how hospitals work. I'm like, this isn't how a court works. You can't arrest someone and then put them on trial the next day. Like, I don't know what the passage of time is here, but it's not that. Like, that's like,
I think Kingpin's rushing it.
Yeah, but like, you can't, like, constitutionally. None of these judges will be removed from their position. He's only the mayor of New York.
But the governor's allowing it, right? Like, and people are turning a blind eye.
But the governor can't even, like, it was stupid.
Well,
I was like, this is stupid.
You're right. Outside of New York, people should be able to like point at New York and be like, what's going on there? And then there would be something like it's not I was gonna say it's not an island, but it is. But you know, you know.
But even
there's a lot of suspended disbelief, and that there's okay to have that sometimes, but when you have so much of it, for me, I think I'm similar to you, Sarah. It just takes me out. Like I'm having to suspend way too much disbelief to where I'm losing my immersion in the actual show.
Well, because it's like vigilante trials. Swordsman's trial is 6 minutes long and we're done, right? Like, nobody had time to file paperwork and give them the evidence. You have to label the evidence. Like, what? But then for me, that ties into kind of a big issue that I was having with the finale, because I think I wrote down multiple times in my notes in the finale, like, this is corny. The crowd with the Daredevil masks was corny.
It was so corny.
Because you did not build that up. And it's like, if it's the people that are for the Safer Streets initiative and the people that are pro-vigilante, and you plant that seed episode 1, then we start to see little people. Maybe all of a sudden people are starting to see Daredevil as a symbol. But there's a moment where someone's like, you're more than this now. You're a symbol for hope. I wrote, is he? I haven't seen, like, are people saying that? They're not. They're just being anti-Fisk. But then all of a sudden they're wearing Daredevil helmets, because remember that time in the comic they wore Daredevil helmets in a completely different context?
And that's all Devil's Reign also.
That's all Devil's Reign. Yeah, and it's
you half-assed
so
the comic story of Devil's Reign.
You could have done Devil's Reign.
Also,
like, you could have done Devil's Reign.
Fuck Cole North. He is a good man in the comic. He is a good man. And in this, he's a shitty person, quote unquote, until the end, where he's like, no, I won't shoot anyone.
Yeah, I'm not going to shoot you. Powell is at full volume in front of everyone's cell phone being like, shoot these civilians that are doing nothing. And it's like, what are we doing, guys? But I think I'm sorry, I'm monologuing. The BB report, I always hated the BB report. I thought it was terrible.
BB kind of sucks. Like,
BB grew on me like a tiny bit, but the little things with the Fisk mask on. First of all, BB, I love you, girl. You've got to cover your wrists. If you're wearing gloves, there are multiple times where she's doing that little bit, and you can see her. It's like, girl, they know you are a Black woman from the way your wrists are not, like, wear longer gloves.
Or a small, like, Black boy.
Oh my God.
Either way,
I didn't even peep that.
The ATVF? Is that what it
AVTF, Anti-Vigilante Task Force.
They would be, I mean, New York kind of does it anyway, but like, they would be literally picking up everybody on the street that had that skin tone.
Oh yeah. Everybody. But then I was like, if we took that, which was so obnoxious, I found it to be corny as hell, so I didn't like it. I'm like, if we took that, not to be like, here's how I fixed the show for you. If we take that and instead of making it an anti-Fisk thing, it was a pro-Daredevil thing, and it was someone in a Daredevil mask, in like a makeshift Daredevil mask with like the way kind of Elektra has the cowl and the scarf. If we did that,
Then the
And it was
finale
called,
makes
because
sense.
it's called A City Without Fear, right? So you should not be in a Fisk mask. You should be in a Daredevil mask. And that would still piss Fisk off that someone's dressing up as Daredevil talking shit about Fisk, right? The people are loving Daredevil. The people don't love you. The people love Daredevil, right? If we set that up that way, then at the end, when we get a mob of people dressed as Daredevil getting killed by Fisk, we have some kind of buy-in on that. Instead, it's like, they're wearing Daredevil masks because we thought that would be cool.
Also, you're right. It's also the idea that,
and I'm like, it wasn't.
Like, you could be anti-Fisk, but also anti-Daredevil. They aren't
Yeah.
necessarily two sides
There
of the
were
coin.
there were people who were, so yeah.
But like, those people wouldn't wear masks to storm the Capitol.
You almost said Capitol.
It was.
They tried so hard to give Fisk
Emulate
the
that.
powers of a president that it didn't make any sense, because he's a
I
mayor
think that
of the
goes
city.
to what she was. That's like when you were just saying he's just the mayor, and that's her point of like him being able to just rush all of these things and stuff. They didn't help it make sense. I think that it's one of the like. I think the overarching to me problem is this need for optimization and efficiency for the business and the capitalism of it all, because it again is one of these shows that I'm like, it probably would have done better with 12 episodes. I don't know, as long as you use those 12 episodes correctly, because there's, even when you're talking about the BB report, even that became very disjointed. It was like we forgot about it for 2 episodes and then we bring it back up. And then it's like, who could it possibly be? And it's like, we've had 3 episodes of the very next thing the BB report talk about is what Daniel just told you. So like, you're not really hiding this very well at all either.
Also, who else do we know that is a reporter?
Also, if we could have set it up as if it was BB and it's obviously BB, and then the mask comes off and it's Daniel all along.
Yeah.
Significantly better.
Yeah. What I was gonna
say, surprise, it was the person we all thought it was.
I think this whole season should have ramped up the idea of Daredevil as the symbol of hope, right? But like, we're talking like people on street corners selling Daredevil paraphernalia, right? Like, ramp that up. And then I think a good like side plot would have been Fisk being like, we are arresting anyone with Daredevil paraphernalia, and they're like, that's freedom of speech. We should be allowed to do that. Like, we can sell this. And it's like, no. Like, so he's against freedom of speech, right? He's getting the AVTF to knock over carts and beat up vendors, right? Like, like the idea that like they are not vigilantes, but they are supporting a vigilante is a like divide that they should have like tackled that way. This didn't have any nuance. None of this had nuance.
And then you have it of like, we believed in you. We showed up in Daredevil masks to support you and fight against Fisk. And then you just let him kill dozens of us in cold blood and then pulled us off of him and was like, no, we're better than this, everybody. Then you have the people where it's like, that's a betrayal from Matt. But I don't think the showrunners want that to be a betrayal from Matt. We want us to be like, yay, good job, Matt. You're right. He did just kill 25 to 30 innocent people brutally in the mayor's office, like in front of everybody. That's a massive betrayal. These people are dressed up as you. They believe in you, right? But if we would have had that would have been a cool thing to explore.
There's just no nuance. And here's, I mean, that was kind of just a dumb thing. My idea in the no-kill rule, because like a lot of superheroes have no-kill rules, and a lot of superheroes have mostly don't kill. Like, unless I really gotta. I don't understand. So, someone like Daredevil or Batman have a no-kill rule, which means no killing, which means they don't kill, and if anyone's about to be killed, they stop. But the idea of hating on someone else at a different moment in time that killed somebody, I think that's a weird form of judgment. I think that like having a no-kill, like, is your view that no one should ever kill anyone ever, and that anyone has a means to do something different, is kind of flawed logic. You know what I mean? So like, the idea is like, I get maybe Daredevil trying to stop Wilson from being murdered. I don't think you should. I think you should just let him be. But okay, but there's a weird, like, doesn't he judge Karen on like killing Wesley, right? Like, don't judge her. Don't, you know what I mean? Like,
You remember, because didn't he used to kill in the first seasons, did he not? And it was Foggy who basically told him to, like,
No,
I remember.
he never killed people, but he also wasn't as lectury about not killing people until we got to Punisher. Because the whole thing with Punisher is like, Punisher's like,
That's right, you're right.
You hit people, they get back up. I hit them, they stay down. Right? That's the whole
right.
thing. So like Daredevil not killing people is like a known thing, but he's much more preachy about it.
It's
In this
very
season,
preachy. It's
and
every 2 seconds. You guys shouldn't do this. That's not retribution. And it's like, I the thing with it basically became very too much virtue signaling, kind of like what you're talking about. It's very cheesy. The people are finally bringing Fist down physically, because I was starting to wonder. I was like, can y'all even mob him? Because that's another thing. RDC, I don't know if you guys know them. They just made a joke about karate movies and how people go at the person one-on-one,
which
and
they
that's
did in
why
that
they get
hallway,
smacked up.
right?
They literally did that against Fisk. They kept on being like, I'll go first. You saw what he did to guy, but I'm gonna go. And then it wasn't until they finally mobbed him that they pull him down. But then like for I would have rather fix the show, but whatever. They start mobbing him and he is for real hurting people. So Matt has to step in and fight to get him subdued. But the idea that they like mob him and he's like, no, stop.
They should have swung on
We're
Daredevil.
better than this. Yeah, like we're better than this. Like it was very cheesy. It was very cheese.
I gotta say, I'm tired of Wilson Fisk as the villain for Daredevil. I think that, like, let's
That
explore
too.
some.
We just keep finding a way to bring him back. And it's like, for him to come back and become mayor after he's already been arrested twice and outed as the kingpin, like, we should have been able to wrap this up. Well, yeah.
I mean,
Anyways,
they're trying very hard to draw the lines, and it's like they are different I mean,
not really.
as much as it's just it's but one's a mayor. There's just a difference.
He's just the mayor. Yeah.
There's 2 times, genuinely 2 times. I have like a shorthand for like when I really really like something or really really don't in my notes, which is like, if I like it, I'll put like an A+++, and however many pluses is how much I liked it. So the delivery of the line of Diner of shit, he has a gun, that got like an A+++ in my book. And then the biggest boo that I wrote was when we go to Staten Island and there's like a Fisk flag that looks exactly like a Trump flag. And I was like, come on, guys. Like, it was already so heavy-handed. And it was so, I was like, boo. The other one was when Heather and Karen were talking, and she was like, I go to bed and I don't know who the person next to me is. It's terrifying. And she's like, it should be. And then she goes, it's also kind of hot though. And I was like, boo, tomato. What is this? Have you guys ever met a woman? Like, what are you taught? And the women in this show were so weird. I was like, are Vanessa and Heather having sex with each? Like, this is a weird relationship. They are very close.
Why did she take the earring?
Why is Heather bringing up why is
well, I thought Heather was gonna hook up with Vanessa, truth be told.
They were moments away from kissing at any moment. I was very confused. I mean, go for it, love it, but very confused. And then I was like, why are Karen and Heather fighting over Matt in this interrogation room? Like, you guys are both better than him, which is sad for me to say. But Matt was acting with Karen the exact same way he acted with Heather in season 1, and that pissed me off. Doing the Karen, no, well, yeah, and like interrupting her, and I was like, he's a bad boyfriend.
Yeah,
he's never particularly been a good boyfriend to anyone, but it was the way he was treating Karen was not. I was not a big fan.
I like a Matt who isn't a perfect boyfriend, but he wants to be, but he can't be. I like that than him just
the usual superhero cliche.
Yeah, that like I like that. Like, you have to want to be, but like in this, it was like I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they could have brought it up. I wouldn't be surprised if him and Karen haven't had sex for a couple years. Like I wouldn't be surprised if like literally, but that's part of the plot of like there is no intimacy in there because they are vigilantes. And
but they like want me to believe they're in a happy relationship.
But they're not. And I can kind of see that, right? Like I can see that they're neglecting each other, right?
But I think that the show thinks they're in a happy relationship.
Yeah.
Genuine.
Yeah.
It's disjointed. It's like the 1 + 1 is equaling 4 right now.
Yeah.
For sure. Because Matt and I think people they swung on the other end a little too hard in the sense that people said that the last season was so much Matt Murdock, no Daredevil, and now this season was like, I mean, we see Daredevil, but like we don't really. Matt Murdock is just a vehicle to the scenes with action scenes with Daredevil violence.
Courtroom Matt Murdock is different than regular Matt Murdock too. Yeah. Right. Like, so that idea that the only time we really got Matt was in the courtroom, but that's Matt, right? Doing the lawyer sparkle, right? Like he's not like that in his everyday life. He's not like that with Foggy. Right. Yeah. And having those like sprinkles of Foggy flashbacks was like, this is what we're missing from the show is any non-Daredevil stuff from Matthew Murdock. But there's nothing, even when he's not in the uniform, he's talking about planning Daredevil stuff. Right? There's nothing else in his life because his partner, his romantic partner, who I'm being told he loves, questionable, is his partner in crime. So they don't talk about anything other than Daredevil stuff.
It's almost like a weird Bechdel test of sorts.
Yeah,
but like
it's a Bechdel test, but instead of it's like, can two characters talk about anything but Daredevil or Fisk?
Yes.
Nope.
Yeah, it's like they don't really even have a friend-like relationship. Like they seem like it's the mission, you know what I mean? And not in a good way. Like it, again, you can be that way, but again, allude to the fact that like we're together, but like we don't really have time for us because we're dealing with all of this. And that's honestly a problem and why we're butting heads right now. Like, again, it goes back to, like you said, Matt doesn't really listen to her. He doesn't really listen to her. They don't really talk about anything. And I think that goes back to what you said about the depth of scenes. You brought up obviously different property of Superman and Lois. One of the things that they talked about, I don't know if it was James Gunn specifically or just someone on the team, was that scene in the kitchen being 7 minutes long, uninterrupted. And they were like, it was a huge risk. They almost were like, do we need to find ways to cut and chop this? And I remember saying, I'm glad you didn't. Because one, it was so good and so captivating. I never even knew that I was in the kitchen for 7 minutes with the two of them just talking. And that
I'm still in that kitchen, like spiritually.
Yeah,
exactly. And so it's one of those things that we don't really get that because it's just like the times we see them together, are we seeing them because they're being reunited? So romance, we're happy. So good to see you. Or are we seeing them for a quick second because we just saw action and we need a debrief, or we need a plan coming up with because we're about to see action.
There is a moment at the end of episode 1 where they're kind of tired. They did like some training or whatever, and they're kind of talking. And she says, do you miss being Matt Murdock? And there's like a bit of a pause. And he says something like, yeah, I guess sometimes I do. And then they're both just like staring straight ahead with like 1,000-yard stare. And it kind of like slowly pans out. And I wrote that this is where the episode should have ended. Like but that would be if they ever wanted to go back to that. Right? Like the Matt Murdock that existed before Foggy died is dead. Right? The Karen Page that existed before Foggy died is dead. And we have to relearn who we are and relearn who we are to each other. Right? But then I was like, that is a thing. I feel like it was so sad because there were so many ideas in this that I'm like, I feel like that idea of, do you miss being Matt Murdock? Right. And but a part of it is like, it's already been done better when he's like, I'm not Matt Murdock, I'm Daredevil now. Right. Like only God can stop me. Right. That whole thing, like we've already done that. And this idea of like learning how to be Matt Murdock again. And I also put this isn't a romance drama bond, which sounds like a My Chemical Romance song.
Funny is that's what Heather said.
I mean, she is occasionally right, but and this idea of
Broken
like,
clock's right twice a day.
yeah, if we would have like, if the big ideas were, who is Matt Murdock? He can't be Matt Murdock right now. Who is he? Right? You can't be Daredevil 24 hours a day. But Matt Murdock is missing. Who are you? Who is that in between person? The idea that Dex was saying about one good deed kind of balancing the scales, right? If we dug into, if that was our thesis, right? Who are you when your cowl is not on, but you can't be Matt Murdock? Does one good deed balance the scales? The people for Daredevil versus the people for the Safer Streets Initiative. Like, if those were our main themes that we kept coming back to, like, there were multiple times I wrote in my thing of like, this is a thing that's important. I wish we were going to come back to it, but I know we're not going to.
Is it a conscious choice not to up the quality of this show? For example, for money, for time and preparation, or for the idea of the streaming service and the people watching it, we can't make it too much, too complicated, too nuanced. We can't have a level of writing that will turn off people because they don't understand all the layers. But is there a cap on quality?
The Netflix show was so beloved,
and that's back then,
that we campaigned to get it back. And that's why Daredevil Born Again is even here, because the Save Daredevil fan, shout out to the Save Daredevil people, right? This fan movement to save Daredevil was so high. And I think the problem might be, because I'm genuinely confused. I find myself on the internet listening to people be like, lock in with Daredevil. The people aren't watching Daredevil. Why not? It's peak. And I'm like, what are we? Why?
Well, they want a collection of scenes, and that's right? Okay. There are people out there that just want a montage, and that's what they want, because this is written for them. This is written for a sense of like, not very complicated, not much nuance. The level of writing doesn't have many layers because they can only look at their phone and be on Instagram at this while watching the show. Like, is there an actual editorial cap of quality? You know what I mean?
I mean, maybe they have one, but there shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there might be on this show, but I never in my life would I have thought I'm not watching Daredevil every week, and I don't care about getting spoiled on TikTok as I scroll. I stopped watching after like, I got like halfway through the episode after Vanessa died, and then I didn't watch it again until after the finale when I had to take my notes. I wasn't watching it week by week, and I didn't. And then when all the leaks immediately came out of him saying he was Daredevil, I was like, okay. And it genuinely makes me like bummed out.
Yeah, like, I see your Daredevil mask in the background. I can tell you.
There's my Daredevil mask signed by the actors in Daredevil, right? Like, I cosplay Elektra. Like, I love Daredevil. So it's on one hand, I'm happy people are happy, right? Like, I want you to have a good time watching this TV show. I just wish I was also having a good time watching this TV show, right? Because I'm like, and I'm seeing people do their rankings where they're like, yeah, 4.5 for season 2 of Born Again, 4.5 for season 2 of the original. And I was like, genuinely, the graveyard scene between Frank and Matt in Daredevil season 2 is better by so many miles than anything Born Again has ever done, right? And then also we have Matthew Lillard's character, who is like, exists to be annoying. We can't get Julia Louis-Dreyfus, like, we don't have the budget for her in this show, so we're gonna bring Matthew Lillard in.
Yeah, he didn't even turn out to be any, like, what, does he run the Thunderbolts? Is that what Luke Cage was over? Was he on the Thunderbolts?
Yeah, he's like an associate of the Thunderbolts.
But is it actually the Thunderbolts? Like, is it actually?
Yeah, because in the mayor's office, they were like, Charles comes in and they're like, I don't know who this guy is. The governor's not on board with you. And then they're like, yes, Miss DeFontaine. Okay. And then they're like, yes, the governor agrees. And then he's kind of looking smug. So I'm like, I think those two things go together.
I mean, as far as I know, the new Avengers team, if they are a public-facing team, doesn't do killing and stuff. But
yeah, probably shouldn't have Bullseye on.
But then Bullseye.
Oh yeah, he's there. Like the There's like the
I
good
feel like
boy
I
and then the
yeah, I
bad
feel like
boys.
there's the behind the scenes people is because I will never necessarily see Luke Cage or the people who are in the Thunderbolts talk about Luke Cage. So I feel like he wasn't truly a part of New Avengers, but he was a part of some other behind the scenes that DeFontaine is like. So yeah, like New Avengers, y'all are the people who like I run because y'all went up in front of the cameras, but we
Right.
still have our operations that y'all don't know about. Um, the thing that with Born Again, because like you said, it's just like there are so many things that they're beautiful starts that they just we don't expand on and that we don't get to and we don't come back to. And unfortunately, I do think that it is get on soapbox here a second. We are blindly as a collective sometimes we are blindly behind, as Dimitri said, a collection of scenes because it has become the point that just hyping and woo, this is peak. Like, unfortunately, there's a word for it where when you use a term so much that it eventually loses meaning or something like that. I feel like that has happened with peak and mid. Because for me, when I said that to me, this is a 7.3 out of 10, to me, 7 out of 10 is like, it's cool. I probably wouldn't watch it again, but like I enjoyed my time. What brought that for me again was the courthouse scene. Some of my biggest gripes, things like Heather, I don't feel like we made sense of her character progression. And then to your point, we really didn't have character progression at all. It pretty much was just like people needed to be who they were in the moments that the writer needed it to be, which goes to Dimitri said, I'm gonna remember that forever. It felt like we could see the puppet strings of the writers.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's weird that we're in a stage where people who obviously, people talk a lot of like, I don't want to be sheep. I don't just fall into, but we're kind of in a state where a lot of people are just kind of sheep because, like, when you literally just sit and think for a minute, because some people would sit and say what we're doing is, well, no, you're just nitpicking into,
Yeah.
but no, like if you literally sit and think for a minute,
It's not that
what
deep,
just
bro.
happened
It's not
in,
that deep.
like that didn't make sense. And I can enjoy my time watching this because I love this character while also acknowledging because to what you're saying, you're like, but people wanted like people say it's not the Netflix, but yet they're saying this is peak. And that's the thing is like, I don't think a lot of people actually remember what we used to watch. Because like you said, they were on that rooftop for 12 minutes maybe and like you had to sit in their dialogue and there was depth in the writing. A lot of stuff we're getting now is so surface level and it's odd how people don't notice it. Like people are like, no, it's not. And I'm like, I'm sure like we're the piece of paper right here. Like you can they Heather went from this to this with no prompting, and that's not weird to you. And they're like, no, it makes
It's
total sense.
it's funny when people are like when people rank it next to the Netflix show or they're like it's back to the levels of what it was on the Netflix show. I'm constantly like I'm never someone that's like let it you read the comic books, like that's not me. But at the same time I was like I can guarantee you have not watched the Netflix show recently. And I was like because I watch it all the time and it's not similar at all.
The,
Yeah.
I want to jump on that real quick because it's coming up in my head. All right. This idea that, sure, we harp on the lack of comprehension because that is an actual thing and it's been recorded that, like, yeah, people don't have the comprehension that, maybe we should have or used to have or whatever. But rather, I'm wondering in this day and age, let me take it back to when I was a kid. When I used to watch Wishbone on PBS, the dog acting out scenes from a book. As a kid, I thought to myself, I know that book. I've read that book now. Check.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Wishbone does the Odyssey, and I'm like, yeah, I know the Odyssey. I know the Odyssey. I know the Odyssey. That's one of the books that I've read. It's not. It's Wishbone, right? And Wishbone is amazing, and the goal is to get kids to start reading, right? I'm wondering, and I just came up with this right now, whether people actually have watched the Netflix show or they've watched a YouTube recap or a TikTok recap, and then they're grading that show off the recap and then ranking. So it's like best moments, best. And I think that's what it is. I think, and
You're
then
you're
they do that with comics all the time
Dimitri,
too.
you need to get on whatever copyright thing and copyright the wishbonification of media analysis.
you need to
That's
do that. I'm not even
exactly
kidding.
what's happening, and it's happening.
That
And
is exactly it.
I talked about it with Absolute Batman. I know this is for a different show, but I talked about it with Absolute Batman, where it's like, I have a student, love him to death. Shout out Zachary if you're listening to this podcast. I hope you're not, because I've been swearing a lot. But this concept where like he watches videos about Absolute Batman and then will come into my office hours to be like, did this really happen in the comic? And I'm like, I will send your parents $5 for you to buy the comic.
That's
like,
the problem. People do that with comics. People do that with
Dimitri.
Someone was talking about a Daredevil run, and they were like, "Oh, so they were like, maybe you know what? I'll go watch a video of someone recapping it." And I was like, "No."
I'm a comic book fan because I watched people talk about comic books.
Let me tell you what. I actually remember this was a whole huge thing, and not even I don't even remember specific names, but this was a whole huge thing in the film and movie talk comic book movie era, because there was a time where people were using comic panels, referencing comic books, but then slowly started being like, I've never actually read that comic. I just
because they don't know the context of it. They don't even know
there
if
was
it's a different
reference
multiverse
in
thing.
this movie. Like,
yeah.
And first of all, she's right. You need to, whoever's shooting in live, don't take it. You need to do that, because that is the perfect summation. Because as someone, I watch a lot of streamers and do stuff like with video games as well, and people were talking about that as well. That's a big thing in the gaming industry right now. There are people review bombing and having things to say about the overall industry that they do not actually consume. And there was something where even down to people trying to understand, like, why is gaming and gaming channels so not monetizable. And it's because nowadays kids will watch their favorite streamer play a game, and they would rather watch someone play a game than to buy the game and play it themselves. So you don't really get conversion rate, because they watch their friend play all of God of War Ragnarok, and then, or not friend, but they watch their favorite creator play God of War Ragnarok. It doesn't entice them to go buy it themselves. They just experience it through that other person. And I think you're correct with, because what has served my feeds more has been, because like I said, I haven't rewatched Netflix Daredevil, but by talking about Born Again, I have been being served a lot of that content. And a lot of people, when the resurgence probably came out, where the Netflix shows came to Disney Plus, they pretty much caught the highlights on Twitter and everyone talking about it, or people giving a breakdown. Hey, if you don't want to watch this, here's my 20-minute recap of all 3 seasons. And to them, for some reason, we just lose the wherewithal to say, I've only watched a recap of this. I have not experienced it myself. People put themselves into, well, yeah, I watched like the car door, and when he saw the world on fire, and then Electra died, and then but then they can't actually tell you details about the show, but in their mind they're like, I've watched it because I watched. I'll see you someone from gaming. There's a guy, Rad Brad. He does playthroughs. People are like, yeah, I've played this game, but really you've watched Rad Brad do a playthrough of it.
Yeah.
I think you're right in that a lot of the opinions or people comparing it maybe haven't watched it, but watched enough to be a part of the conversation. Because that's another problem nowadays. Sometimes people just do stuff to be a part of the conversation.
And I'm not gatekeeping that. That's also like an asterisk to my thing is I'm not gatekeeping, and I'm also not like hating on the people who, let's just say, watch people play games, because that's like their form of entertainment. I'm just saying you can't count that as playing the game or understanding. Let's just say, oh, how fun was it to play the game? You should have no answer because you didn't play it, right? So I remember watching a clip of The Graduate, like a 30 minutes of The Graduate, in a college film class, and like in the back of my head, I was like, oh, and then maybe this is dating me. I think there was a MySpace thing or a Facebook sort of list of movies that you've watched, right? And I'm going through this list of movies, and you're supposed to like check off all the movies you watch, and The Graduate pops up, and I click it. I haven't seen The Graduate. I've seen 30 minutes of The Graduate, and I can't be clicking on the checklist that's one of the many movies I've seen. Like, You know what I mean? I don't see it. I'm not being gatekeepy on people's enjoyment or knowledge. I don't think you need to have all the knowledge per se, but I do think it's disingenuous.
That's the word.
It's disingenuous to be acting like you've consumed the media that you haven't. You can't lick you can't like lick an ice cream cone and say like you ate ice cream. That's just a lick.
So I was like, where are we going with that?
There's a lick. Or you can't watch your friend. You can't watch your friend eat ice cream, describe to you how it tastes, and then you're like, "You're right. That's my favorite flavor."
There's also no shame in being a beginner, and I feel like the internet
makes you feel
beginners,
like you can't be,
right?
Yeah.
So this concept,
what do you mean you never
like,
watched this?
One of the biggest, most hardcore Daredevil fans I know, to the point that when I talk about her at conventions, people like know her by name because she's like the biggest, like she's like a huge Daredevil fan. And she got into Daredevil like 2 years ago, but like she found out she loved it, and she's like, she has like logs of her comics and her reactions, and she like deeply connects with this character. And it's like, if she would have been too embarrassed to be a beginner at some point, she would have never got to the depth that she is. I love you, Nat. You're all light in my life, right? So this idea that you can't be a beginner, you want to have some base of knowledge, but then you never go back to that thing, I think is a big problem, right? With so many communities, especially nerdy communities, right? Because and it's scary to be like, I actually haven't read that. And I get into it because I'm a Jason Todd fan. People are like, Jason Todd versus good writing. And I'm like, have you read anything recently? Or do you just know that that's the thing that people say about Jason Todd? Because like literally his last comic appearance was good writing. Like, what are we talking about, right? So that idea of like wanting to be in the conversation, so you're going to Google it and you're going to like read the Wikipedia page on it, like that's fine. But then don't be like, I read it. It's like, well, because I mean, I do that too. If there's a thing that I haven't watched and I need the context for it, like I'll read it. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. I tell my students all the time, I'm like, Spark Notes is a fantastic tool for when you read a chapter of a book and went, I didn't understand anything I just read. Fantastic. Now look at Spark Notes. But don't start off at Spark Notes, right? So if you
read Spark
or only read the Spark Notes, or God forbid, go to ChatGPT. But
that's what I was going to say, and that's part of the problem is now
right?
AI overviews and everything, and people just they don't actually
either.
They're usually not right
because they're pulling off people who aren't right.
What I learned, people don't realize the Google AI overview, it will just take like what is coming up like in SEO by popularity. Sometimes I've seen it pull directly from a Reddit thread that's a few scrolls down, or something that's popularly trending on Twitter that someone said in the conversation that you're talking about. So unfortunately, like it gets worse when people start relying on the Spark Notes of the media. Because again, like to your point, there's nothing wrong with consuming your media like that. I haven't been able to play a video game in like a year. Well, it's been like a couple months. I played Marvel Rivals. Anyways, I haven't been able to fully play a game, like a single player game, in forever. But I've experienced it through just like, I'll just watch someone play it. I'll save my money or whatever, just so I can learn the story. But I will never then sit and try to say such and such game didn't deserve game of the year when like I haven't played it or played any of the competitors. And that's kind of where we're at with a lot of things, including shows like Daredevil Born Again, where it's like Marvel TV is back. And actually, to your point, you were talking about this earlier, and I meant to make a footnote of it because you were saying weren't trying to rag on the MCU and say anything was bad. My issue definitely has come to, I feel like in this area where most people are like, we're in peak and we're back, is worse than the area where everyone was dogging on it. Like, to be perfectly honest, Matt Murdock characterization in She-Hulk was probably better than it was in the show. Like, and people would arrest me for saying that, but like, it was cool with him being fun. He was silly. Why were we mad at She-Hulk twerking? I don't understand why that was a reason to rag the whole
credit sequence.
Yeah, like people dog the whole show for that scene. And it's just, again, the scenery and how things were chopped up. Even I guarantee you I could watch an episode of She-Hulk and it was not cut the same way how Sarah just described that first episode of Daredevil. And to me, that is better depth-wise and writing and execution. But for some reason in the masses, and for some reason the way that we're at right now, violence, cuts, action, yelling, for some reason is like peak. And this is where I say like the terms peak and mid have just, because to me, a 7 out of 10 is like 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, mid. It was okay. It was cool. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it, but I probably wouldn't watch it again. That's why I say, like, for me, I obviously, because I know our scaling is different.
Yeah.
If I was like at 3 or 4, I hated it. Like, I just was like, I too long didn't read, wouldn't even finish.
Well, when people say mid or whatever, are people saying that's a C or a 50%? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Nowadays, when people say mid, they mean it's a 0 out of 10.
Yeah.
People are like, mid means you shouldn't bother to watch it. And I don't know why we came to that consensus. And then the same thing with peak. Like, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this one. People called not Daredevil, Deadpool and Wolverine a 10 out of 10. And I thought that Captain America Brave New World was a better movie. Like, I just was like, Deadpool and Wolverine, to me, rode off of a lot of the nostalgia and bringing back Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
But like, it didn't have a lot of rewatch. Really, Captain America didn't have a lot of rewatchability to me either. But I just didn't agree that you could find Brave New World bad and then call Deadpool and Wolverine 10 out of 10. Because it's like, I feel like both of them were more cool.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I feel
like I had a 10 out of 10 viewing experience, but I also saw it at San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Did we see it together, Sarah?
Yeah, we saw it together.
Okay,
yeah. And then they had the X-Men montage at the end, and you were like actively weeping because you love X-Men so much.
Yeah, I was. But that's what it should have ended, by the way. Like, don't bring back any of
Don't bring them back. You like, just
how many times
have
a
memorial for them.
Yeah.
I will. I'm going to be remiss if I don't mention this.
Yeah.
Because I am a mother, and it is Mother's Day tomorrow. I have not read any. Thank you. I have not read any Jessica Jones comics. Okay, I'm going to say that. I don't know if her powers fritz out when she becomes a mom, but the fact that Jessica Jones's powers fritz out every time, like, because she's a mom, like, I was like
weird,
livid. She keeps talking about, like, I can't say because I got to go back to my kid. I can't because I have a kid now because my kid now. And I'm like, I understand you're like, that's true. Your world revolves around your kid. But like her powers going on and off because like that's crazy.
Yeah. And Luke goes over damn seas. Like, what? Like, he's Jessica Jones is I can't do anything because I have to pay attention to my kid. And Luke's like, all right, bye.
He's gone.
And maybe one is because
like, okay, I like that they're back in New York at the end where it's like, okay, we get to see them more. But yeah, I liked seeing Jessica there. I do like Jessica, but like we already had like 5 too many characters in this show. And that's like on the low end of it. Like, I didn't need anything happening with the governor. The governor and Sheila, every scene with the governor and Sheila throughout, like we could have just heard about the governor. We didn't need to ever see the governor, right?
There are 7 female characters in this season, and I don't feel like any of them are really good characters.
No.
The 7 are Vanessa, Karen, Heather,
BB,
the governor,
Jessica Jones, and White
Mila.
Tiger.
Yeah, Angela Del Toro, anytime Angela was on screen, she was given the most heavy-handed dialogue about being a hero.
Yeah.
She was like, it's hard to be a hero these days. And there's like, well, maybe that's why it's hard to be a hero. And I was like, I know, honey, I know. Yeah, you're going to be a hero. It's hard. But that being said, she had a cool ass moment in the final fight where in my notes, I literally wrote, fuck yeah, Angela.
Yeah.
I wish
also, is she disemboweling people?
Yeah, she sure is.
We never even saw that the other White Tiger move like that. I didn't know that White Tiger got like actual animalistic powers. She
has a knife.
Oh, I thought she was clawing.
There is a thing that looks like claw marks on the tires, but then we see her putting a knife away. Oh. It would have been cooler if it was claws.
She just was like, I'm gonna make 5 specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah, her and Dex.
The female characters, you're right, man. And like, because even to my opinion of I did as again, this goes back to like I scroll the timeline, and this is not to hate on anyone. I scroll the timeline and I'm like, are we watching the same thing? People were like, it's so peak how she's back. And I was like, did we just like the episode she came in? We start with her. She comes to Matt, they meet up. She disappears for a good while. Then they meet up, beat up some people, blow up some weapons, and then we still have 20 more minutes of episode where she's nowhere to be seen or found again. And I was kind of just like, okay, so like, was she just a marketing insert? Because like the episode where she comes back, she was literally in 3 scenes. And then yeah, she does pop back up in the end of the episode before the finale, which I think was like 2 episodes later. I can't remember how far it was.
In
But
the
like,
church.
yeah, but
Or
it's
later?
just like I just in the church, and I'm just like, okay, so is she a part of this or not? And then I love your point because I'm starting to look at it. Could just be because it's trending. I don't see anything about her powers being affected by motherhood in regards to anything other than the show. Her powers came from like a science experiment.
Yeah.
So like, what does that have to do with anything?
And 2 things. Again, this is just mom rage. The thing is, her having her powers be somewhat on the fritz sometimes doesn't have any effect on the show. The only thing, it kind of like goes out at one point and Powell messes with her and we get
Out
a
of
moment.
all
He hits her
people,
in the-
I
Yeah,
fucking
we
hate
get
that
the
guy.
worst person in the world
I
gets to
wanted
punch her in
him
the
to.
face.
I wanted him to die.
He should have
so
died.
But then
bro.
it's like you could have just as easily had her be dialed up in the powers and be like, dang, like what happened, Jessica? And she's like, I don't know. Ever since I had Danielle, my powers are just dialed up to 11. Oh, motherhood made you stronger as a superhero? What a cool thing to say instead of saying, growing a child in my womb sucked my superpowers away.
Yeah, you're right. You could have dialed her up and made her afraid to
Yeah,
do too
yeah.
much. That way, then she can't affect too much because she's like, if I hit someone, I could just like rip people in half.
And what I even am seeing too is just like it kind of for it to then not go on the fritz at all in the final battle, like whatsoever. What really was the point other than for that one scene for Powell to smack her in the head?
And it even makes more sense to say that it's dialed up because when you're a mom, you get those like,
Adrenaline rushes.
adrenaline rushes when your kid is about to fall
You hear
off
all the
something
thing
where you
about
can
like
all of a
the
sudden,
mom
yeah,
lifting the car off of their kid or
Yeah.
whatever. Like, yeah, you
like
often
that makes so much more sense, like physiologically, for us
Yeah.
to instead go, my powers broke
You're
because
just a
I'm
weaker
mom.
human being now.
Just
you know,
yeah,
I
because
just want you to know
motherhood
you
weakens you. Like
you've
I was
given me
like,
so many notes. You've given me so many notes that I am
I'll
just like,
send you a picture of my notes. But
yeah,
I
like
was
this.
talking, and I think my big thing is like, I think they just needed a thesis. They needed like a uniting idea.
Yeah.
And they said something at some point where they said the city's picking a side. And I was like, the
Mhm.
city picks a side should have been the thesis for this show.
Yeah.
Are you Team Daredevil? Are you Team Safer Streets Fisk Task Force? Right? Like that should have been it. And I filmed 17 pages of mostly complaints, but I was on the Andor after show and I filled many, many pages with praise. At one point I wrote in here like, this ain't no Gorman massacre, right?
I was about to say that you just want Daredevil Born Again to be Andor.
I want it to be, I want everything to be Andor.
I mean,
but I was talking,
so good.
I was talking to my long-suffering girlfriend who has to hear me talk about this all the time. And I was like, I have 17 pages. And she was like, you're insane. I was like, but I wish it was 17 pages of like, hell yeah. Like, and it could have been 17 pages of hell yeah. If I was doing this based on the Netflix show, it'd be 17 pages of hell yeah, right?
Well,
Andor was 17. Agatha All Along was 17 pages of hell yeah, right?
Like, you would say hell yeah because there are like, you're just not saying yeah.
It would still be 17 pages. It would just be, this line was amazing. And I love that we gave it a chance to marinate. Because the line that I wrote there, I found it was Heather's talking to Fisk and she's like asking him how he's holding up. And he's like, nobody's really asked me that. And I was like, that's hard to believe. But then he says, something along the lines of, I always knew that love was a prison. I just never thought I'd be in here alone. And I was like, damn, that's a good line. I wish we had a minute to think about that, but we immediately go into the next line that Heather has to say, right? Like there's so many And I think that's the thing that makes me so, and I think I maybe said this about the Acolyte, where like when I don't like a show and it's just like not good and I turn it off after 2 episodes and I'm like, that show's not for me. Right. But to see these little glimmers of like that could be something.
They had something there.
It's like an unpopped popcorn kernel where I'm like, you could have been a popcorn, but you didn't go in the microwave long enough. You could have been delicious.
Maybe I don't know if I'm stepping on it a little too much. I wonder if some of that is like the teacher in you. Like I feel like you very much reckon, because I have a lot of teachers that I grew up with who I would watch them have that, like, you have so much unrealized potential. And I know that it's corny to, like, looking back, we were like, that's so corny to say. But like you watch stuff again like this show and you see what that really means, because what you just said about the cities picking a side, when they started, they were having the cutaways where they had like the citizens like, I don't get what the big deal is about. Fix seems good for the city. I feel safer. And then and then they would like have the BB report come in sometimes and like interrupt it or whatever. But then having those cutaways like The Office almost, where they're interviewing people, slowly shift to like, stuff's getting kind of weird around here. Yeah, like they pulled some woman from a restaurant or whatever, like acknowledging the shift of environment. But again, those interviews just kind of stopped happening.
Because the BB report, like they did mention that like she was kind of working for Fisk at that point of like making the BB report, like talk it up. But then I do agree, like that City Without Fear broadcast should have been the counter to that, in the same way where you have normal people being like, I'm not happy. I don't feel safer. They took my uncle for doing nothing. Yeah. Right. Like, but instead it's just BB in like a corny Fisk mask doing corny stuff. Right. Yeah. But if it was like, and then we have like Angie show up for 2 minutes. Angie, a character I completely forgot about, to be like, resist, rebel, and then walked away. And I was like, this is bad.
It struck me as like performative high schooler, where it's just like, let me show you this play that I wrote. Talking about this incident.
Is this play about us?
Yeah, I'm also getting taken back by my idea of like Daredevil paraphernalia being like increasing across the street, and then them cracking down on freedom of speech. And I think that it would have been cool to like not only do that, but like get to the point where you can't even wear the color red. Like the color red, because they are they're gang colors, but they mean Daredevil gang color. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like have like you said, they planted seeds for really good plot devices and like literary moments. And again, we are on surface level so hard. And I just don't, and again, this is maybe more of a complaint about media as a whole. I don't understand why. Like I don't, and unfortunately, well, the thing is, people, I would say they see people blindly support it, so they're like, sure, this is great. But to be fair, season 2 actually had a heavy decline in viewership.
And one of those was me. Like, because I wasn't watching it weekly anymore, because I wasn't excited to watch it. And I think the planting the seeds metaphor is good. Again, English teacher, I love a metaphor, but it's almost like you have a plant bed that's like 12 feet by 12 feet, and you have 3 really, really good seeds right in the middle, but you have set up your sprinkler to water this entire thing, and there's no seeds anywhere else but the middle, but we got to water everything evenly. And it's like, no, water those seeds, right?
Or spread the seeds.
Or spread the seeds around so that you catch it every once in a while. But it just, there was too much going on. There wasn't a main character. Like, if I had more time and was not actively working on a huge cosplay project, like, I was tempted to like time how long Daredevil was on screen every episode, to be like, I don't feel like anyone is the main character. If anything, it's Fisk, but then like there's just like, he's not on screen enough for this to, like, Daredevil Born Again, like, there's not that much Matt stuff. Like, he doesn't, and that's my main thing, is like, nobody gets, like, things happen, but nothing means anything. Like, there's no like meaningful change for any of the characters.
Not really stakes.
And my final note is Wilson Bethel, you gotta cool it, man. Like, he's too hot, he's pulling focus, he's too charismatic. Bullseye, I don't want to be on Bullseye's side.
No, I don't either.
He's like, literally, too charismatic. Like
He killed it.
he's gotta tone it down.
I mean,
Like,
I would say he's the only one who came out of this season looking better than they came in.
yeah. Like
He actually had some development.
Yeah, he had development. Performance wise, he's the only like performance I think that came out of this season like a net positive. Like I loved it. He looked great in his suit and out of his suit. His line deliveries were amazing. His character stuff made sense.
Poser.
I messed something up. I need to do a good thing to even the scales. And now that I've done that, you can go ahead and kill me, right? You can get your revenge, right? Like he has a clear path and a clear motivation. And it just sucks that it doesn't suck that it's, because he's a cool character, right? But that he's the only one that got that.
I would love I'm going to make a weird reference. I would love for a My Name is Earl sort of Bullseye where he's like, look, I know I kill people. I know that. But also, maybe I could save one person for every person I have killed or will kill. And so he is homicidal. And sometimes maybe he kills 100 people with a toothpick. And then he's like, oh, damn. Now I got to save 100 people. Okay.
Oh, man.
There was spots in this season where he kills or he doesn't kill. They're like moving still and like still alive. And then there's times where he kills.
I would be remiss if I also did not say two things, which is give that dog actor an Oscar from the diner. He did amazing. Good for that dog. Oh. That dog was a little star.
I'm so happy he didn't kill the dog.
I also could not stop thinking about the SNL skit about the lobster in a diner. Where like someone finally orders the lobster in a diner. I could not stop thinking about that entire scene. I feel like I was most excited, and it's so weird because I know that Charlie Cox knows Daredevil, right? And I know that he knows this character, and I know that he is capable of portraying this character really, really well. And I am confused about the portrayal of him. And I know that Wilson Bethel does, because when I showed up to get that Daredevil cowl signed, dressed as Elektra, he apologized for killing me. And I was like, hey, that only happened in the comics. Like, yeah. Yeah. And I was like, nice, dude.
What if he was talking about the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie?
He told and it was so funny. He told my daughter, he was like, sorry for killing your mom.
That's funny.
Thanks, man.
I mean, that's great.
Bullseye, the thing that I'll say I realized, and it's another thing that I need to talk about. I have too many notes at this point on the show.
Yeah.
But not gonna lie, I hope more people, we can continue to talk about it. It unfortunately, even though it went week to week, somehow suffered from once it was done, people seem like there's nothing to talk about. Like, it's over. But it's just like, there's plenty of stuff to glean from this. And one of the things was Bullseye also got a full character arc as far as revenge from the Netflix show, because a lot of people forgot the reason, which again, Born Again season 4, season 4 of Netflix, but first season of Born Again.
Yeah.
It kind of contradicts itself on him working with Vanessa in the first place, because he's trying to kill Wilson and Vanessa because Wilson killed Julie because he tried to quit, I think. Which would, like, again, Fisk used to just be wilding. Like, oh, you think you're going to quit? I'll kill who you love.
Yeah.
And then I got a video that was like, this is for Julie. And then it edits to him throwing the thing and getting Vanessa. Yeah. And I was just like, wow, he got to have a full character arc. Like, he low-key got his revenge.
And didn't they mention Nadim?
They did. Yeah, Nadim got a shout out. I was like, yay, Nadim.
That was the agent?
The agent who's like,
what did you get a shout out?
Main character in
I literally wrote it in my notes.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember now.
The people we've lost.
He's like talking about the people that he killed.
Is that when he's like tied up with Karen?
Episode 7, he's tied up and he's talking to Matt. So he's talking about, like, that's when he says, the part of me wants to kill you, part of me needs to forgive you. And I was like, oh my God, this show's for toddlers. Then my next note is Wilson Bethel's so fucking hot. So he's talking about one good deed. So, like, to make up for Nadine, because he gives the track of it, right? He's like, I killed Foggy to get out of prison. So now I need to kill Fisk, like, for Foggy, right? Like, I did that deed to get something for myself. now that I got it, I need to make up for it, right? So yeah, and he's talking about, he sees Nadim, Foggy Nadim. Who else did he kill?
I don't know. Does he still have a metal back? Does he still have that like that cybernetic stuff?
Yeah.
Yes, that's technically how he survived.
He says something about how he should have died.
Okay. Yeah. Off of episode 1 of Born Again?
Yes.
Off the rooftop? Yeah, fair. Yeah. Okay. But I'm trying to think if I have any like final thoughts about all of this other than I think the whole thing about season 1 was it got like reshot because as far as I know, they were trying to like figure out whether Daredevil Born Again was technically a different universe than the Netflix universe. Like, is the Netflix universe a different universe? And this is a variant that we know in the MCU, so that things may or may not have happened the same way in the MCU that they did in the Netflix show, so on and so forth. Something like that. But the idea is like now we're in the MCU and we still haven't used the full sandbox of Defenders. And I think like you do a vigilante related season and only Jessica shows up. Like Luke shows up right at the end, but like it's not worth it. And I thought I saw behind the scenes footage or photos with Iron Fist. Like,
so that is because they are shooting season 3.
Okay, which is cool.
So that's
exactly
3.
what I want. Let's do that.
Yeah,
and let's explore that.
And like,
because at this point, I'm not getting my Netflix show.
And if it's vigilante, if the whole thing is like anti-vigilante task force, vigilante, like we gotta at least say Spider-Man.
Say his name.
Say his name.
They literally said it in season 1, and I don't know. I don't understand.
Keep it coming. And it's like the best we got is swords. Yeah, dress up like a spider. Yeah, just say Spider-Man. Yeah. But yeah, it goes back to the wishboneification of comics. I'm gonna.
I feel bad for Wishbone. I don't want to name it after Wishbone because it makes it sound like Wishbone didn't do its job.
Nah, you need to.
But it's such.
You can make it. You can make that known.
It's normal for this is. I'm gonna sound mean. It's normal for a 10-year-old to watch the Wishbone version of the Odyssey and think they've read the Odyssey. It's not normal for a 25-year-old to see a TikTok about the Devil in Cell Block D and then be like, they're doing Devil in Cell Block D. Despite the fact that in Devil in Cell Block D, he's been accused of being Daredevil. So that's why someone has to go out and act like Daredevil as a cover. That's when Foggy dies. Foggy's already dead. Like, there's like literally it's just that he's in prison. Like they're like someone's like they're doing the Zdarsky run, and I was like, he literally gets possessed by like a demon, and like isn't it the Venom symbiote? And I'm like, that's too magical, guys. Like, come on, you gotta
coin that.
Like,
speaking of what you're saying and everything, as we close up this episode, the question is like, what is to come? People have pointed out that the Hand is in Spider-Man Brand New Day, and that they may have the prison with Daredevil, that Daredevil may appear there. Punisher appears in that. Like, what the hell's going on there? But either way, I'm for it there, because I think they'll do a good job. Mm-hmm. But what do you got? I want more of the Hand. Personally, I like season 2 of Daredevil.
I love season 2 of Daredevil. I'm so confused.
I do too.
I think people don't like magic.
I didn't know people didn't like it.
Sorry, I don't think people like magic.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's the Elektra scene or season, right? Season 2? You there, Jay?
Did my headphones break or did your headphones break?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I was waiting. No, season, like, I didn't know people didn't like season 2 of the Netflix show. Like, when did this? See, this is one of those things that I feel like we're rewriting history, because I feel like when it was all on, we was all chilling. But now people are going back and being like, we never liked it. Cause like the supernaturalness of like the Hand and all that stuff, it's a part of all of it. It's a part of Daredevil, and like I don't know if this was ever meant, but it is obviously like a juxtaposition of the League of Shadows and like the Lazarus Pit and all of that stuff with Batman. That's also where even the no kill rule kind of started to go overboard, because like I don't feel like Daredevil's no kill rule ever meant I also have to get in the way of anyone doing anything to anyone else or making their own choices. I don't feel like it was ever that bad either. But
Yeah.
but I would like to see the hand. I do think if you've played the Spider-Man PlayStation games, it now that we're talking about it, it is very similar. Of Fisk is out of the way, and instead of the inner demons run by Mr. Negative, the hand is kind of coming in to try to fill the crime void within New York City. So I don't agree with people that Peter is breaking Matt out of prison. For one, it would go against the character
No.
arc that Matt just had in
Yeah.
this season. Um, but I do think that the hand being present in that movie will hopefully tie into Daredevil, as well as we bring the Defenders and such all back. Especially because like the hand is also big for Iron Fist as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, are you guys able to hear me? Because my computer's on the fritz right now. But
Yeah, I can hear you.
okay,
Yeah.
cool. So I can't see myself right now, so it's kind of weird. Anyway,
We
yeah,
perfectly
no, I
see.
don't think Peter is breaking him out, but I think that something's gonna happen in the prison, and Daredevil will be there, and for some reason there's the hand in a show or in a movie about Spider-Man, and I think that's interesting, but also kind of weird.
Yeah. I think my hopes and dreams for season 3 is that I just hope that we focus it up a little bit more. Like whittle down some of those extra characters whose arcs are meaningless. And if we're gonna have all the Defenders back again, let's like have them together, right? Because if we group a bunch of our characters together, right, that will hopefully cut down on how quick we're going from thing to thing. And I cannot tell you how desperately I need Matt and Karen to break up. I'm not delusional I'm not delusional enough to think that Karen and Frank is ever gonna canonically happen.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I keep getting the edits on my TikTok and I'm like, dang, they have so much more chemistry. It's so sad. So desperately need them to break up. And I just need them to give me but I don't see it happening. I can't
Yeah,
imagine.
it's like they're just gonna keep forcing it of like
I
because
can't
it
imagine
almost
they're
them
gonna be
coming
like,
back
yeah.
together feels forced. All them coming back together just felt forced as well. Like it felt like they broke up for the reasons in season 1, and then we didn't really get to have them find their way back to each other. Like you said, having the thing of what is it like not being Matt Murdock or whatever, and then like him refinding that, and then them refinding each other again, some depth. But instead, it's just they're back together because we said so.
Yeah.
Yeah. As we close up this episode, do we kind of have ideas for season 3 of this? I don't get where this is gonna go. Is it just Daredevil in prison and the Defenders come by, or I mean, Wilson Fisk is gone. I hope he doesn't come back.
Muse is back.
Muse, maybe.
They also messed up how they used Muse because Muse is a
Oh, so
character.
sad.
I don't know a ton about Muse, but I know that like the point of Muse is that Muse counteracts the whole thing of like Daredevil's abilities. And
Yeah.
so they just when that character just died with 3 episodes left of the season, I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
For season 3, I am a little worried because it does look like, he's gonna be in jail. Are we gonna spend the entire season getting him out of jail? Because
I
then
hope
at that
not.
point, are we watching Daredevil anymore? If it's just going to be we're trying to figure out a way to get Matt out of prison, and then we finally get him out by episode 7 so that he can be in the big battle in episode 8. Because then have I really been watching a Daredevil show?
Yeah.
When it's just scenes of Matt Murdock in prison. He's gonna be sporting a beard though, which is cool.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot like the season of Arrow where Arrow goes to prison, and it's like I'm kind of tired of like superheroes in prison all the time, because like how many times have we gotten that, not only in stuff but like in Watchmen, Rorschach goes to prison. Like everybody just goes to prison, and okay, then we get to deal with I mean all the tropes of prison drama, right? Which is big guy comes in to say I'm in charge here, or like, oh, there's going to be a hit on the inside. And it's like, we already got that in season 2 of Daredevil, right? With the Punisher and the Kingpin.
They've genuinely like already done the coolest things they could do in a prison in the original series. So like they already have a cool
Punisher
prison
in prison
breakout,
was
prison
fire.
riot. They've got Punisher in the prison. They've got like everything cool that can happen in prison has been done.
True,
So I
because
mean,
the Wonder was in prison
yeah,
with him escaping. That
yeah,
was like one of the most fire things. And I think that might be the detriment of Daredevil Born Again, is that like you kind of are just like rehashing things that you've been able to do in the past. Because like
but
you
they
said,
don't
we've
have
done
to. They don't
yeah, like
have to,
we've
and the
done
fact that they're
Kingpin for
choosing to is tough.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we've seen Kingpin 1,000 times. Like, please let him just be gone for real this time. But yeah, if this season's about a prison breakout, it's just like you kind of have done like some pretty fire prison breakouts, but it's like when you really take a look at them rehashing it, is it gonna be a good plot line to go with?
Yeah, what
And
new
then
stories are going to be able to tell?
it's gonna force me to get on a podcast again and be like, well, it was no Narkina 5 breakout, guys, but I guess
Yeah.
That was such a good time.
everything's just not Andor.
Yeah, but I mean, look, not everything can be Andor, but I think if you're aiming for an adult sort of show that is supposed to be let's just say less adult, because some people think adult is just swearing, violence, nudity, whatever. Elevated. If we're trying to go for prestige television, right? That's like the industry term.
Mhm.
Prestige television, then we have to have layers and nuance and time and energy spent in the setting up and the narrative and everything. And it's one thing if you just want Daredevil fighting people, and it's another thing if you want prestige TV. If that's what you're going for, which will also attract higher level sort of actors, like higher profile actors, right?
Mhm.
Something like Breaking Bad, and whatnot. Like, then more time needs to be spent on this, and you can learn lessons from Andor. It's never going to be Andor, but Andor did it all right. Yeah, that was prestige.
Very good show. Yeah,
Not
I
everything
hear
can
nothing
be
but
Andor,
praise.
but everything should learn from Andor, or try to reach the heights of Andor. Of like, just because it's a superhero or a space wizard or Star Wars, right? It doesn't mean it can't be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's it for the amount of time that we have today. Obviously, there are things we, didn't have time to cover and whatnot. But I think that I'm very happy that I got two of you on this episode to be able to talk about all of this, because we tackled it, and I think that the net level of analysis that you guys bring is great, and thank you guys so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having us, Sarah. It's so great to meet you.
It was good to meet you. Yeah, I'm like,
uh,
this was a delightful conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely it put me back in my literary thought of like, that was like, yeah, again, I stand on the 7.3, but it's just like, again, we could score it, and then like there are things to talk about, because like there was plenty that I'm like, I need y'all to find better words than peak or mid. Let's construct a sentence. Let's construct a thesis on
Yeah.
what how we would describe this. And I think that this conversation was being able to construct a thesis around the lack of thesis for this show, and that kind of leading to most of any issues that I think any of us had with it.
Yeah. A lot of these type of shows need to have a thesis, you need to, like, you can't skip over it. Like, you should be able to sum up what the point of the show is. And
yeah, or like, what are you trying to say?
yeah. Yeah. And if you're not trying to say anything, then why do it in the first place? Like you have to. So, even Muppet movies are have thesis, right? Like and I'm not saying Muppets are bad. I'm just saying it's like they're puppets, and
Muppets in Space is a profound examination of found family.
There you go. So
Exactly.
I mean, I'm biased. I have a Muppet tattoo, so
Fire tattoo.
Before we get going, Sarah, thank you so much for coming on the show. Where can we find you? What do you got coming up? Anything you want to plug?
You can find me on TikTok and Instagram at @Ms_Marauder. Our next big thing is we are doing Comic-Con Revolution here in Ontario. We'll be with Cosplay Youth Legion. If you've got a child that wants to do cosplay, we are giving out free kids cosplays that our little ones have outgrown. And we are going to be in the Anime Expo Masquerade on the 4th of July. So we have a very big, very ambitious build in process for that. So if you like Jujutsu Kaisen and puppets, stay tuned because that's the hint for our performance.
Okay. All right. All right. Jay, where can we find you? What do you got coming up? Anything you want to plug?
Yeah. You can find me pretty much anywhere. On all platforms. YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. It's Jay Phrygian on all of them. I do have a secondary page, Jay Phrygian 2.0. That's my main film and TV page at this point. I'm one of those people who my first page is now is kind of a dead zone, but that's beside the point. But yeah, just Jay Phrygian on all platforms, JPHRYGIAN. I know it's spelled weird. That's why we do J Fridge for short. It's just easier. But coming up, I think I'll be traveling in July for DreamCon in Houston.
Okay.
That'll be fun. A lot of different creators, the anime convention, but pretty much there's gaming and all types of stuff there. That's what I'll be doing. Other than that, I also just am around on people's shows. I have another show, the Media MCs, with a couple of creators. We just, I'll definitely let them know about this. I think you've had some of them on before. Um, just talking about movies, TV
Yeah.
with some friends,
Yeah.
uh, just having a good old time kicking it. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got going on. I don't know how it's May already.
Yeah, that's crazy. May 9th. Yeah.
Gonna be
Well,
May.
thanks Jay for coming on. Thanks Sarah for coming on. Thank you anyone who was watching us live or watching us after the fact, or maybe listening to the podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. Wherever you're liking us, watching us, watching us. Like, comment, subscribe, follow. Write a review, write a comment. We would definitely appreciate any help that anyone has to offer. It doesn't have to be monetary. You can just click on a couple of buttons online and help out the show and our other shows that way. Or, patreon.com/The Keeg Show if you want to subscribe to a tier. We're giving out Keeg t-shirts on Patreon for certain tiers. So, and they're not really like high level tiers. Like, it essentially just pays for itself for like a couple of months of subscription. I think it's like after 3 months of subscription you get a free t-shirt, and that sort of thing. So if for anyone out there, patreon.com/The Keeg Show. Also, I prepped some comic covers because I wanted to show. Basically, go to comicshoplocator.com, find a comic shop near you, support your local comic shops, pick up any comics there, including Daredevil, which is right now just on issue 2.
It is good.
The Daredevil run written by Stephanie Phillips is really good. Matt Murdock is a law professor. And so he is a law professor at a school while also being Daredevil. And it's really good. And I had the covers prepped, but we're having technical issues, so I can't show that. But check it out. It's only 2 issues in. So if anyone out there is interested in getting into Daredevil comics, right now is a good time to hop on. Shout out to Aries13 for being in our chat earlier. And this is the Keeg Talks. We talk about a bunch of different things. We're going to be talking about Mortal Kombat on Monday. We're going to talk Mandalorian and the Grogu soon. The Boys season finale, or series finale, I guess, soon. So definitely stay tuned for this new season of the Keeg Talks. This is season 12, episode 2 of the Keeg Talks. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at The Keeg Show. We're also on like Facebook and Threads and all that at The Keeg Show /The Keeg Show, wherever you can find The Keeg. And then obviously this is youtube.com/The Keeg Show. So check out The Keeg Talks. Check out Comic Talk. That's every Thursday where we talk about all the comics that came out that week, every week. That one's a really good show as well. We got a lot going on. So, San Diego Comic-Con's at the end of July, so we'll be there as well. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Jay, were you going to say something?
Just hashtag anybody who made it this far for Dimitri, hashtag wishbonification in the comments. That's what
Yeah.
that's how you know. That's how you know y'all watched the full thing.
Yeah, I guess you guys have forced me. I guess I gotta take that ball and run with it.
You don't have to.
Well, every
but
time
I
we
think
talk
that
about it,
you
I'll be like,
found-
no hate to Wishbone.
No, yeah,
like
no,
I think
'cause
you
don't wanna
found
talk
a
shit on
great
Wishbone. I love
analogy.
Wishbone.
I think it's just a great analogy.
Yeah.
I think that you pulling that like that gave me such a aha moment of
Yeah.
like where we are at in life.
Yeah.
But I think that you can do it without it's not hate to Wishbone. It's like Sarah said, it just makes sense for Wishbone to do that for a 10-year-old. not for a 25-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. So either way, thank you guys so much for coming on. I'll definitely do something with that. Nobody else take it. Let me run with it for a little
Dibs.
bit. You know? But thank you everybody out there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, I am your host, Dimitri Pereira, and this has been the Keeg Talks Daredevil Born Again Season 2. See you next time.
Bye.
So that's where we're going to cut. We're technically still live. I don't have access to my computer. It's really weird. So technically we are still live right now. I literally am going to do a hard turn off. I have to hard power off my computer because
All right.
I literally don't have access. It's so weird. So either way, thank you guys so much. Don't fart or pick your nose on camera right now until I literally cut out. So I'll see you guys later.
Bye guys.
Bye.